Yo, what's the deal? It's your boy Kelly Flicks, and we back with another episode of HBCU Flicks. Let's get into it. We got hella stuff, dog. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is supposed to be the camp update, right? So that means that I'm going through all the different camps. We're going through the SWAC. We're going through the MEAC, the SIAC. We're going through the CIAA. Hold on, I hear echo. Hold on. I don't like that echo. Let's fix that. But like I'm saying though, we going tripping. We're gonna get this rid of this echo first. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, we back. All right, what's the deal? It's your boy Kelly Flicks, and we got another episode of HBC Flicks. We're going camping. We're going through camp season. We're going through training camp from the SWAC, the MEAC, SIAC, CIAA, every black conference. We're going to dig through and see what we can find. So, we found a little bit of stuff on Edward Waters. We're going to kick it off with them. Number one, Edward Waters actually has a new football locker room, which is pretty dope. They since they built their new stadium like around 2 years ago, now they are bringing in a new locker room to go with it. So I'm not sure if the locker room is at Edward Waters or if it's off campus at the stadium. But we are gonna take a look at that. Gonna kick it, do what we usually do. But let's take a look, man. Edward Waters, they just had their ribbon cutting ceremony. So pretty big news for Edward Waters. You don't know about Edward Waters? That's a Division II program. So you talk about recruiting. You're going to want nice facilities and nice things to try to draw attention of recruits. So this locker room is just another step in the right direction, man. Let's take a look.
The football team is not just starting this season with a new head coach, but also a brand new locker room. Now, the university held a ribbon cutting ceremony earlier this week to debut the new locker room for the players, coaches, and university staff, and even Tigers fans. Interim head coach Brian Jenkins says the renovated locker room is just one example of how the university is dedicated to
I like this locker room, I'm not going to lie. There's some big seats right here, big cushions.
the student athlete experience.
I'm just really looking forward to the future and hopefully being a part of the Edward Waters University moving forward. Like I say, we're proven. Our brand is proven. All you got to do is check the track record and all the things that have already been done and look at the things that's to come. So I'm just looking forward to being a part of it, and I'm very thankful for it.
The Tigers start.
All right, I'm not even gonna front. I'm a fan of this move right here. This is a good move. You know, before the season, Edward Waters did lose their head coach Toriano Morgan. He went on to be the assistant offensive coordinator or like pass game offensive coordinator at Tennessee State. So this is a nice way to bounce back. And you'd have to assume that this was already in the works, sure. But for optics, you know what I mean? You just went through a breakup. How you looking right now? You know what I mean? We looking kind of good if you keep it a buck, right? We got new equipment, new locker room, right? We kind of got the new stadium still. It's kind of like Toriano Morgan and Edward Waters divorced, but Edward Waters kept the house. George Morgan got to go find somewhere to stay at tonight. But Edward Waters got the house, and they was already planning on adding on anyway to give it an extra little look, right? So I like what Edward Waters got going on right here with this locker room. I feel like it's going to lead to more recruits going over there. You talk about a school like Edward Waters that is in Jacksonville. You feel me? It might be a hard sell for some kids. But with facilities like this, it's going to make them think twice, right? It's going to make them think twice. And that's really what you want to do. So we got this. We got some news about Eric Dooley, too. Low key, hold on, let me. All right, so the word on the street is Eric Dooley is coaching down at Edward Waters. Hold on, man. Let me cut this. I don't want to show you all that. So let me find this clip. My boy D2. Shout out to Kendrick. Kendrick found this a couple of days ago. Everybody else ran with it. But my boy D2 be going through all them little TikToks, man. Do not play. My boy be going through them TikToks. So he went through and found the boy Eric Dooley. I might have to go to that group chat. But essentially, it seems like Eric Dooley's going to be coaching at Edward Waters. I'm going to give y'all a look at it, which is just a screenshot of the boy on the sideline. That's all it is. But what does this mean for the Edward Waters offense, right? What does this mean for this new Edward Waters team? It's a big question, right? You want to talk about a squad? Here it is right here. You want to talk about a squad that is really looking for some relevancy. Here we go. Yep, and that's a group chat up there if y'all want to find out. But here you go. That's Eric Dooley in that orange shirt. You could people, you know it's him by them eyebrows. Okay? So the boy is down there coaching. Last year he was a coach at Grambling. Year before that, he was a head coach at Southern. And now he's gonna be taking on seems like his first role in a Division II, at a Division II school, which is interesting. The main takeaway I got from this is, number one, I knew there was a reason that Noah Bowden transferred, right, to Edward Waters. I knew it kind of had to be a reason. And number two, with Eric Dooley being here, what other players from Southern or Southern or Grambling or anybody from that Louisiana area have they transferred over because of Coach Dooley? I spoke before about, how I don't like Coach Dooley's offensive system, how I don't feel like it works. It's too many long throws, things like that. But we see that he's attracted a couple players and quite possibly could boost this team. Also think about the different power dynamics within this team, right? Because before Coach Morgan left, essentially Coach Morgan was the head coach. I believe Coach Brian Jenkins was the offensive coordinator, and that would leave Coach Dooley with no play calling duties, essentially, right? That means that this offensive coordinator, former head coach of Southern 2 years ago, they were in the SWAC championship, would now be delegated to assistant coach stuff and what, I don't know, maybe coach the receivers, coach the what. Actually, let's take a look, y'all. We here. We got time. Let's go. Edward Waters, coaching staff. Because I'll be interested to know if this happened, if this coaching change, see, they don't have the new one. If this coaching change happened before or after Coach Morgan left. You only got 2024. So, thinking about the different power structure that we could have between what most would assume is like a strong Division II program, and you add like a former Division I head coach, what type of power vacuum does that create within the coaching staff? What type of dynamic does that change for your team, really? You want to talk about an Edward Waters team that, quite frankly, has been kind of trying to find it for the past year or so. Year before, they did all right. Look, everybody wants to hang their hat on beating Tuskegee. Great. But Tuskegee hasn't won more than 7 games in I don't know how long. So how, Edward Waters did beat them. Toriana Morgan did get a bonus for that game. But that's pretty much the only win Edward Waters can hang their hat on. They didn't beat any of the big dogs, coming from the last 3 or 4 years. So, really, I'm interested to see how Coach Dooley works with the rest of this squad. In a couple ways, I feel as though this could probably hinder the squad. I'm not going to lie. If any hope that I did have in Edward Waters is probably gone now, given the fact that Coach Dooley would probably be calling the offensive plays for this team. So, this gives me a different outlook on Edward Waters, not going to lie. And to see this during camp kind of makes me widen my eyes a little bit. Makes me look a little closely at Edward Waters, because now I wonder what type of offensive system are they going to go with, right? Are we going to go back to leaning on Coach Dooley's system, right? Big spread, long passes, 10-yard outs, to 15-yard corners, 18-yard comebacks, deep crossers through the middle of the field to get past the backers. Are we going to see more of that? I mean, because that stuff kind of didn't work at Grambling and at Southern. Ain't no kinda. It didn't. It's the reason why the man got fired. So trying to bring that system to Edward Waters, I don't think it'll work. If you want to talk about this drop back pass all day, right, and then you want to run inside zone every now and then, I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's gonna slow down Edward Waters' progress. And let me tell you this, Coach Jenkins, do not let Eric Dooley be the reason why you don't get extended. Right? If the first couple games we don't see a lot of offensive momentum, we don't see a lot of movement, a lot of points being scored, take over play calling duties. because this is a tryout, right? Like you heard Coach Jenkins say at the end of the equipment room video, this is a tryout. He is very hopeful that they will extend his contract. To me, you got to win for at least knowing Dr. Faison a little bit. I would say for this not to become a national coaching search, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Faison wants to have a national search. For this to not become a national coaching search, I would say he has to win at minimum 6 games. Minimum. If Coach Jenkins can win 6 games at Edward Waters, I think he'll get extended. If you win less than 6 games, I don't think there's a chance. Because I think that Dr. Faison believes that they can have a national search for a head coach and find a pretty good one, right? Find a pretty good one. You want to look at Edward Waters, Kendrick brought it up first, but Teddy Bridgewater would have been all right at Edward Waters as a head coach. He coached high school last year, coached team to a high school championship. I think he would be all right at Edward Waters. You want to talk about retreading or bringing on former players? We see Michael Vick at Norfolk State. We see Deshaun Jackson, at Delaware State. We see Quentin Demps, Leon Washington, Santonio Holmes at Central State. Really, more than majority of the SWAC coaches are former players. Eddie Robinson Jr., Sam Shade, Chris Dishman. It's a long list. So I wouldn't be surprised if Edward Waters tried to go for a splash this offseason and try to go for a national coaching search, right? Teddy Bridgewater was hired by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so he'll be on like their practice squad or he'll be the backup quarterback this year, which is just fine. But next year, hello, hey, hold on, pick the phone. You know what I mean? Talk to me, Teddy. So I feel like Edward Waters has a great chance right here to really build on some things and become a better program. But I'm not sure if Brian Jenkins is going to be the guy if he's going to bring Eric Dooley with him. That's where I get stuck at. That's where I go, okay, Jenkins is a pretty good coach. He did good things at Bethune-Cookman in 2013, 10 years ago, right? Maybe he could bring that back. He's in the same state, probably the same recruiting pool, which is fine. But if the offense is averaging 18 points a game, 20 points a game, that's a hard sell to try to get an extension. It's not going to help your case. Even if you are recruiting well, even if things seem like they're going well, if you're only scoring 20 points in SIC, that's not going to cut it. Right now in the SIC, we kind of seen a more robust offenses going around the conference, and Edward Waters is going to have to score points. And to that point, if Eric Dooley is calling plays, I'm not that excited about what we're going to get from this team. So I did find this. I also found not John C. Smith. I also found an interview with Brian Jenkins, which is very interesting. Hold on, give me 1 second. Don't worry about nothing. We got our first interview with the head coach of Edward Waters. It's like a 10-minute interview. I watched a little bit of it, y'all. I'm gonna tell you, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So we're gonna scrub through it together, and we're gonna find the good parts. But we get to hear about. I haven't heard Brian Jenkins' voice in I don't know how long. If you want to keep it a buck, since he's been around. So let's do this. Championship mindset. So shout out to Pretty Girls Love Sports. She came out. She's been doing some cool stuff media wise. Oops, not that one. This one. She's doing some pretty good stuff media wise. That is boosting the conference.
Edward's University.
This is the man interviewing them. I don't know who this is, but let me slow it down. They pretty much start the interview at 0 seconds. So let's take a look, y'all.
Coach Jenkins,
Yes.
I just want you in your own words to tell me how you feel about this endeavor, this job at Edward's University.
I feel encouraged. I can do not but being encouraged with the support that's been shown, with the leadership that we have. And I'm just really looking forward to the future. And
let me know if it's
being a
loud
part
enough.
Of the Edward Waters University moving forward. Like I say, we're proven. Our brand is proven. All you got to do is check the track record and all the things that have already been done and look at the things that's to come. So I'm just looking forward to being a part of it, and I'm very thankful for it.
When you went to bed and you woke up the next morning and knew that you was the new interim coach at Edward's, and that long journey, what really went through your mind?
Man, I got to sit down and talk to Dr. Faison. That's what went through my mind. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a way of I finally get a chance to talk to a man that's our leader who has done some tremendous things. You know, he's passionate about winning. He's shown that. He's passionate about excellence. He's passionate about success. And if you look at his track record of leadership, it's phenomenal. So, you know, my thought was I finally get a chance to sit down and talk to Dr. Faison one-on-one and pick his brain about some things. And I'll tell you what, we sat down and talked.
All right, hold on, man. Too much glazing going on. Let's talk about football. Let's find out. Let's see.
4 hours.
We get
with all the coaches. I mean, all the players. It lets you know our president is all in.
We know. You've been talking about Faison for a minute, brother. Hold on.
There's more things to come as well, and that helps in recruiting. So whenever you have that type of support and backing.
About being able to have the assets that are needed in today's collegiate room. And today, topping it off with this brand new locker room. Your feeling about being able to have the assets that are needed in today's collegiate environment?
Well, the main thing I feel good about is the progress. You know, it's like a stock. When the stock is going up, you want to jump on it. And I've been here when the stock first started, you know, going up. And man, just to see the results thus far is very encouraging. So I'm really looking forward to where this program can go with the amenities that's continued to be added.
When we got the information at HBCU game day that you were going to be interim coach, and we posted a graphic, it was overwhelming from every HBCU that had come in contact with you,
right,
that Edward Waters is going to be a team to look out for. And so your reputation precedes you.
Right.
Going into a season, you come in a little later probably than you would like to have.
Right.
But going into the season, are you aware that there will be eyes on you from all across the country?
Absolutely. I'm aware of that, and I'm prepared for that. And I think the great thing about Edward Waters is there's people around me to assist me and guide me and direct me. And that's something that is very encouraging.
Yo, this cameraman do not stop shaking his camera. Jeez. Come on, my boy.
So I don't think we'll have any issues moving forward as far as, you know, with anything. You know, with that guidance and the people that you have here at Edward Waters, like I say, the only thing I can see is success.
The small school on the north side of Jacksonville.
My boy Vaughn gonna ask some questions now. Let's get this forward a little bit.
Yes. And then I can learn and know about the community, because there's a lot.
Yeah. Right. You ask any coach, what's the most important game, the first game? Well, I want to step past the first game, not that I'm looking past the first game.
Right.
But you have a first happening here on September 13th, the inaugural Unity Classic, which will bring a top-seeded Virginia Union team in here. So that's going to be an early test for the Tigers. How excited are you to first be a part of the inaugural, and then to bring in a top-ranked school so you can immediately see what you got?
Right. My excitement is at an all-time high. You know, first of all, Virginia Union is a powerhouse team. They have a wonderful first-class coach. He's shown the type of program that he can build. And, you know, but I look at every game the same. You know, I don't give any opponent any more energy than I give the other. So we're going to approach them the same way we approach every other team. And that's with respect, you know. So I'm just pleased to be in the position that I'm in, to be a part of that event. To play one of the top teams, and you know me, my background is to be the best, you got to play the best, and you got to beat the best. So to go up against a team like Virginia Union is right on the plan, you know, of what I'm all about and what I want this program to be about. So if we want to be known as a program, we got to get to the point where not only we're playing teams like that, but we're beating teams like that.
Thank you.
That was a good question. Let's see what else they got, man. I want to talk about that Edward Waters and Virginia Union game, because that's can't wait to talk about that.
Games, but I need to go to the next week. The next week, the Tigers will step into Municipal Stadium, Daytona Beach, where you might be a little familiar with that place, but you'll be in a different locker room.
Where's that at?
You'll be in a different locker room. Have you thought about the emotions you're going to have coming into that game, and knowing that there's relationships there are people that they might have on maroon and go, but they're rooting for you to succeed.
Right. haven't really given it much thought because the one thing about me, I think I've mastered staying in the moment. You know, and right now the moment I'm in is preparing this team to go into camp, and so we can get as good as we can get, so we can win and be prepared for our first game. You know, has it crossed my mind? It has. You know, but I'm gonna look at that game the same as I look at every other game, and we're gonna prepare for it the same. Would it be some additives there because of past history? Absolutely. But the one thing I'm not going to do is cheat this football team by being selfish and let my emotions get involved. So my main thing is just to prepare this football team to win that game the same way we were going to prepare to win any other game.
All right.
Oh, wait, hold on. He said some emotions. Well, how did Brian Jenkins get fired from Bethune-Cookman? Did he get fired or did he just leave? Just look, man, what happened? I wasn't around there, y'all. Brian Jenkins fired from Bethune. Was it like, so how crazy is Brian Jenkins? Is that something? 2015. Brian Jenkins, 5 months ago, Brian Jenkins denied job over unproven allegations. 8 years ago, what happened to Brian? What happened? What happened to the boy? 2016. Okay. Let's see. What? I didn't know this. What? He got like allegations? Maybe Brian Jenkins. Hold on. I'm not subscribing, bro. Buys him more time, but the dynasty he built at Bethune-Cookman means I've been at stake here 2 more years. Okay. Where's the bad stuff, man? Where's the bad stuff? All right. Jenkins says the violation was an honest mistake by one of the assistant coaches. He says he reported the violation to athletic director Melvin Hines in the compliance office as soon as he learned about it. All right, am I not? Okay. Hornets have okay dismantling Del Devil, but Jenkins was suspended for a big home win thanks to NCAA violation for improper contact with high school athletes in 2015. This is while he was with Bethune, right? All right, so how did all this go away so quickly? Jenkins was a guy under consideration for mid-major BCS gigs at the height of his Wildcat run. He was a coach with multiple playoff appearances, Coach of the Year accolades, and the emerging model of the new HBCU football coach. This is 2015. He was hot. Maybe not a lifer, but certainly in the mode of what black colleges needed to break through as mid-major brands. And then he leaves Bethune-Cookman for Alabama State, a move that me thought was a less than lateral move. All right, then the allegations came out. Here we go. Now we cooking. What allegations, man? I'm trying to figure out. Improper benefits of players. Oh, he was doing NIL. Federal lawsuits for assistant coaches being denied pay. Practice time violations, threatening players. Wait, hold on. Wait. That Brian Jenkins? I thought the boy was nice. It's hard to say if the struggles, the NCAA violations, and the personal allegations are more a cumulative set of circumstances for a take-no-mess coach or a fiery personality that burns beyond. All right, whatever. Okay, so the allegations, y'all, this is what we came to find. The allegations are right here. I'm going to highlight them. Hold on. Improper benefits to players, federal lawsuits for assistant coaches denied being paid, practice time violations, threatening players. All right, well, improper benefits to players, I mean, personally, I let it slide. It's NIL nowadays, so what? Not paying your assistant coaches, shame on you. I don't know if it was a GA, if this was the running backs coach, or if it was the offensive coordinator. But all your assistant coaches deserve that pay because they're doing all that recruiting for you. So I don't like that. Practice time violations, I kind of feel like everybody does that. But then threatening players, I also feel like everybody does that. But like for it to be reported means that you had to do something extra out, though. I'm not going to lie. Every coach, keep it a buck. Every coach threaten their players somehow, whether they threaten them with conditioning or whatever. Now, if you threatening to unalive somebody, you tripping, okay? You need to get reported to the authorities. But, okay, so that's the allegations coming from Brian Jenkins as he made it to Edward Waters. All right? Or I guess some Bama say to Edward Waters. Okay, so I guess some people at Bethune-Cookman don't like this guy. I think that's what they're saying. Bethune, they got an issue with the boy. All right, let's get into this whole little thing. So he also mentioned something that was very key, right? Coach Jenkins mentioned a game against Virginia Union, right? And I kind of want to bring that up for y'all to see. This game they got against Virginia Union is going to be a pretty big matchup, And I don't know how Virginia Union does it, but they managed to play like one of the weakest SIAC teams every year. Last year they was playing against Morehouse in like Ohio. This year they traveling down to Jacksonville to go play Edward Waters, who just lost their head coach 2 weeks for the season. So this game is going to be week 3, right? You got a Virginia Union game right here. It's going to be a 4 p.m. game, September 13th on a Saturday. Okay, I am here to tell y'all, Virginia Union will beat Edward Waters to sleep and wake them up and cook some breakfast like Lorenz Tate on Love Jones. This game will not be close. It's going to get nasty, okay? It's going to get nasty. I'm just imagining an Eric Dooley offense going up against Virginia Union. And I could see the picks if I just close my eyes. I could just see them right now. I could see the interceptions. I could see them happening. Because that is like mixing water and oil at this point. You talk about a spread attack going up against a smash mouth team. Usually the spread attack doesn't do very well. There was a Super Bowl like maybe 2016, maybe. I think it was the Broncos and the Seahawks. Coming into the game, the Broncos had Peyton Manning at quarterback. He was OG. They had Peyton Manning at quarterback. I think they had Brandon Marshall at receiver, Demaryius Thomas at receiver. They had a dude in the slot that was cold too. I can't remember bro name. They came in. They played the Seahawks. Smash mouth team. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, right? Defense, Legion of Boom. The Seahawks beat the brakes out the Broncos. Peyton Manning, the Hall of Famer. He got the brakes beaten off of him. A spread attack versus a smash mouth team does not work out in favor for the spread team 93% of the time. I'm going to leave the 7% out for the teams like Ole Miss are just going to score 100 points on you, right? And it's going to be 101 to 100. I don't see this out of Edward Waters. If Noah Bowden's going to be your starting guy, I've seen him not play well under Coach Dooley before. I don't have to see it again for me to predict that Edward Waters is going to lose this game to Virginia Union by a lot of points. So, he's a little optimistic about the game, and I get it because you got Savannah State, which is probably one of the best teams at SIAC. I think they might really be a top 3 team on the sleeper side. And then you play Miles, a team that, they lost a lot. They lose a hell of a lot. But they lost a lot in, like, April. You lost a lot like July 28th. Big difference. Because in April, I could bring in players for these next 4 months. When I lose my head coach in July 28th, there ain't too much I can change before training camp. And there really ain't too much I can change before August 30th. It's 18 days away, y'all. So when I look at Edward Waters and what I think they're going to be, I think they could be a competitive squad. I think they have a non-conference schedule that was set for Coach Morgan's like 5th or 6th year, that's what it would have been, because you're playing one of the best teams in the CIAA, and you're playing a Bethune-Cookman team that, quite frankly, I'm not sure if Edward Waters has played another Division I school since Jackson State during COVID. We can fact check that, though. We can check right now. Let me see. So, usually like a year thing. Here we go. So 2025, go 2024. Let's see, a non-conference. They were 3-7 last year. Oh, they did. They played Alcorn State last year. I was mistaken. That was fast. And then 2023, who'd they play? Let's take a look. In 2023, Flomo and Virginia Lynchburg. Yeah, so I guess their last Division I opponent was against Alcorn last year, and Alcorn put hands on them, 38-7. They beat them at Alcorn. All right, this next game coming up this year between Edward Waters and Bethune-Cookman is going to be at Bethune-Cookman, which is not that far from Edward Waters. I'm sure I could put it on the map. It's probably like an hour, less than an hour, if that. Jacksonville to Daytona Beach. But it's also a D1 opponent. I mean, and look, Bethune-Cookman lost last year to Clark Atlanta, so I know for sure they're going to make sure they don't lose again, right? Which means we need to hop on them. Let's turn up on them, whatever. But also this year, it seems like Bethune-Cookman coming into this matchup will actually have a steady starting quarterback. It will either be Cam Ransom or it will be Timmy McClain, one or the other, which makes a lot of sense for Bethune-Cookman. And by week 3, they should be rocking and rolling, and I expect them to put hands on Edward Waters then. So looking at this schedule, if I'm being very honest with you, I can see 0-4. I can see 0-4. Savannah State, we'll get into them, but pause. We'll get into them. Damn, relax, Flicks. Savannah State actually has Eric Gilbert on campus. Right? If you don't know Eric, type his name in, A-R-I-K, Gilbert. He played tight end for LSU for a year, transferred next year to Nebraska, got into some legal trouble, and has found himself back in his home state of Georgia, playing at Savannah State. So I can see a loss to Savannah State there. They have a very good team. I can see a loss to Miles, interestingly enough. That's a good time to beat Miles, to be honest. But I can see a loss to Miles. I definitely see a loss to Virginia Union, and I see another loss to Bethune-Cookman there. So it's kind of like it's muddy waters, right, for Edward Waters right now. And seeing as though Eric Dooley is going to be there, I'm assuming their offensive coordinator, I'm not very bullish on them. And in some ways, I feel as though this Edward Waters team, they might be in trouble. They might be in trouble. This could be a sinking ship. But we're going to have to let the season determine that, and this is all preseason jibber-jabber. There's more stuff to come from now, right? There's way more stuff. So I want to get into Jackson State and what they got going on. Let's pull up the boy T.C. Taylor. We got a couple interviews we're going to take a look at. And now I think we're officially in a space where we can definitively say that not only football is being played right now, but this is one of the most crucial times for depth chart building, right? And when I say depth chart building, I mean, who's your twos? Who's your threes? Who's battling for positions? Because this is a way bigger thing than just quarterbacks. There are position battles going on across all HBCU football. From the receivers to the running backs, everybody is competing. So understanding that everybody is competing, you have to know that things are going to change. We're going to have scrimmages. There's going to be full speed practices, right? So things will begin to change. And I think around now, right? Around now is when we see the biggest changes in some of these teams. So one day ago, JSU had their fall press conference that included Coach T.C. Taylor. I didn't get a chance to take a listen to it, so we're going to take a listen to it now, and let's figure out what's going on with Jackson State. So, man.
Let me know when y'all get ready. All right, we're going to open with a statement from Coach Taylor, but when we get to the question part, if y'all will do me a favor, just introduce yourself because there's a lot of new people in the room, so he knows who you are when he asks the question. Okay.
Great 2 weeks of camp right now. I'm very excited and pleased where we are as a football team. Going into week 3, had a solid scrimmage, but can't say enough about the support that this team is getting. From A.D. Robinson. He's doing a great job of giving us everything we need to be successful as a program, as well as the Tiger Fund. Tiger Fund led by President Jesse Thompson. That's my guy right there, Lindsey Harden. Pastor Robert Cook, those guys have been doing a phenomenal job of supporting this program and doing things that this team needs in order to be successful. Just the other day after the scrimmage, Pastor Cook, members of his church came over and fed the team after the scrimmage. We were very appreciative of that. So I'm excited about the support and where this program is going. The Blue Bengals, also, Tiffany Howard-Allen has been doing a great job in that organization of supporting this program as well. Just very excited about the excitement away from the football team and, the support, like I said, that we're getting in order to be successful. With the football team, it was a great scrimmage. It was a really good, solid scrimmage for a first scrimmage. One of my better ones as a head coach here. I thought they came out and flew around. Defense created a turnover, were able to score on the defensive side of the ball. Ashton Taylor had a solid day out there. On the offensive side, you saw Nate Rembert catch a touchdown from Jacobian Morgan. No, that was Ethan Terrell actually threw it to him. Very happy to see Ethan step up in that number 2 role as of right now. So those guys are competing at a high level. The offensive line is looking elite. Those guys are really playing a physical brand of football. Amar Miller ran the ball well. It was just a good scrimmage overall. I thought it was well coached, well organized. So I'm just very excited about these next 2 weeks of work that we have to prepare for Hampton.
Coach, if you had to like grade coming into week 3, if you had to kind of like grade where this team is right now, how would you? What grade would you assess them?
I would say I'm gonna say always we're average right now. You know, we got the talent to be above average, but right now we still got 2.5 weeks of work. But they're playing and doing everything the right way. I talked about earlier the team chemistry. You know, those guys coming together with the new faces, they're falling in line. The stuff we're doing after practice, you know, the team building stuff and everything. So, you know, when you get to this point of training camp, they get tired of hitting each other. You know, they're tired of hitting each other. You know, Jeremiah Williams and DeAndre Towns Blue going in there every day. You got Kamari Rogers, Jonas Fortillion going there every day. They're ready to play another opponent, but they got to understand, you know, we got to take the proper steps and make sure that we're properly prepared when we get ready to line up August 30th.
Coach Nathan Lee with WLBT. Big thing for me here is obviously we had this first scrimmage, and talk to me about the biggest difference that you're seeing. Obviously the intensity is going to ramp up compared to spring to fall. What are the biggest differences that you are seeing in that intensity and physicality?
Well, you know, as they get closer, now it counts. These games count right now, and these guys, we got enough guys off last year's championship team, and you know, I hate to be bringing that up, but this is a new season, but they understand it. And they know the standard. We always talk about the JSU football standard, and these guys get it. So as it get closer to the game, get closer to the season, you can see the physicality picking up. You know, the guys are more locked in, so they're just ready to play.
And you got a bunch of guys on preseason watch list: Jacoby and Travis, Jeremiah. Obviously, we know how talented they are, but talk to me about their leadership. How are they leading this team in their respected position groups?
Yeah.
What are you seeing from them?
The leadership comes, I tell those guys, all those awards and accolades that are kind of happening right now are based off what you did last year. You know, it's the play on the field that allows you to be a leader. And they understand that, and they approach it each and every day. You see them in the meetings, just hanging out around the building. You know, they approach that, and then when they touch the football field, it's all about work for them. You know, they got a goal, one goal in mind, and that's being, you know, still playing football in December. But those guys, all those guys, you talk about Reed, Jeremiah, who else? Marv Landy. You know, they're just leaders, you know, and they just show it each and every day out there on the football field.
Coach Cameron Morris, WJTV. Can you just...
Let's slow it down real quick. All right, so a couple things I took from that just now. I'm not going to lie. He said that he would describe the O-line as elite. Take note of that. And he also said he likes his second-team quarterback, Ethan Terrell. Very interesting. They liked their second-team quarterback last year, too.
Tell me about every week is a different week. What are you seeing from last week, second week of practice, to the third week of practice? Out of these guys, what are the changes you're seeing every week?
Well, I try to do a good job of setting those goals each week. You know, last week, the big goal for us was to find out who's those next tier guys that can help us win football games. This week, we're going to emphasize the strength and condition. You know, let's get in condition, the best condition possible, so when November and December rolls around, we're still good to go. Taking advantage of the reps in the weight room, you know, getting stronger, make sure we're transitioning our body as well for a physical football season. So I try to do a good job of myself of making sure they understand the weekly goals as a team.
Are there any position battles that you have your eye on?
There we go.
Did that first scrimmage maybe give you a little...
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, it always starts with the quarterback position at number 2 role right now. We got 3 guys that are competing at a high level for it. Parker, Jared, the freshman, and Ethan was here last year as well. So we got to get that ironed out. I think the cornerback position, you know, in the secondary, we got some guys back there, some new faces over there with the guys we lost. That's going to be a great competition. There's always competition at the receiver position as well. You know, we know what Jonas Fortillion brings to the team and Nate Ramber, but who are going to be those other guys? So it's really across the board. You know, we tell guys you're in a position battle each and every day. You know, I think that we're talented enough that we got some guys that are 1s, 2s, and 3s that all can come in and contribute to this football team.
Coach, you talked about last year.
No, that's enough of that. Interesting. I mean, the thing about having very talented rosters, right? Having depth, like I'm talking about, 1s, 2s, and 3s, is that some positions, require just a little bit more attention if you talk about getting the ball, right? You talk about running back, wide receiver, quarterback. These are people that need to be involved with plays, right? So even looking at, I mean, I'm not even sure that depth chart right now, but I gotta imagine this wide receiver depth chart isn't as like friendly as we think, right? Like Shamar Savage and Fertillion possibly are starting at X and Z, and then maybe got Nate Rembert down there at the slot. But how many other receivers are there that are in rotation and are also ready to start, right? So what I've kind of been, the conclusion I'm kind of starting to get to with Jackson State is that they have this really good receiving core. But I really don't feel like Jacobian Morgan is that guy with his arm. He's not. Like, he's that guy on the ground. He makes good short intermediate throws, but downfield throws, sometimes I even feel like they're maybe behind sometimes. So in some ways, I feel as though this wide receiver core might not even get put to use as much as we think it should be, right? I think that they could go underused this season at Jackson State, right? And this is all prognostication, but listening to what Coach Taylor said, right? They have an elite O-line. These are his words, elite O-line, right? You got a good quarterback in Jacobian Morgan, and you got a good, strong number 2 quarterback. You also have good receivers. But you have a good line, good quarterback, good, decent running back. I mean, do you need to pass the ball, right? I don't really feel as though Jackson State's going to come out with this, like, super pass-heavy attack. In some ways, I feel as though Jackson State may go to the pass as play action, right, and try passing and, down and distance situations. But I think, like always, Jackson State will lead with the run. But I don't really feel like Jacobian Morgan's going to throw for, like, 250 yards a game. I don't really think he's that guy, at least passing-wise, right? Maybe he throws for 200, runs for 130, runs for 80 or something like that. I can see that for sure. But I don't really see a really big pass spread attack. I couldn't see Jacobian Morgan throwing for 400 yards, 500 yards. I don't really think he's that type of guy, right? I think he fills up the stat sheet, right? He's going to give you 200 passing yards, 100 rushing yards off the bat, a couple touchdowns, help you win a football game. But I'm not really sure if Jackson State's ready to toss it around the yard like that. And I say that in context because they have a lot of great receivers. I'm not saying any receivers are going to, like, leave mid-season or anything like that, but I could see these receivers being underused, right? And that could lead to a lot of competition in the wide receiver core. Talk about competing for touches. We hear it a lot in the NFL, sometimes in college. But receivers compete for touches at times, right? And if Jacobian Morgan's, the leading receiver of the game, usually getting around 5 catches, right? Like 5 catches. And we can even, I hate to just throw some random stats out there, but let's check out last year. Let's check out some stats they got. Let's check out what the receiver stats were, because we can kind of, they got pretty much the same offensive coordinator. You got some of the same receivers, but they're talking about, like, a system that's probably going to be the same, right? So if we talk about receiving, all right, I'm looking at receiving right now. Isaiah Spencer caught 35 passes last year. 41 passes is the highest amount, right? So if you got 41 receptions in what they play, 12 games, 14 games, quick math, quick calculator math. 41 divided by 12. It's like 3. That's like 3. Like 3 catches a game. So yeah, you got to think that at some point though, unless the ball's getting dumped out a little bit more, we're going to see a lot of competition in this wide receiver room for who's going to be wide receiver 1. Because wide receiver 1 in this offense gets 41 catches. Wide receiver 2 in this offense gets 35. Wide receiver 3 in this offense gets 21 catches. That's just kind of how it goes. This is a Celebration Bowl winning team. So in winning teams, you're probably going to see some of the best numbers. So in this case, this would be telling me that if the number 1 wide receiver this year, in my opinion, I think it's going to end up being Shamar Savage, 41 catches. Fertillion will end with 35 catches. Rembert with 21 catches, which is inconceivable to think about now because last year, Nate Rembert on his own had like 50 catches, right? But in this offense and fitting in this offense, he's going to have a different fit, right? He's not going to be getting targeted as a number 1 receiver. Not in this offense. This offense, they like to throw to the X receiver, which last year was Isaiah Spencer downfield, right? Or even the Z receiver. They like to throw to the outside guys. Rico Powers is even the outside guy. So, in looking at Jackson State's offense and what they're going to be, it might be the most talented wide receiver core, but they probably won't have the production to show for it. And I still feel like Jackson State's going to win the SWAC. But this is an extremely uber talented wide receiver room that would probably be a great wide receiver room anywhere in the country. But for this offense, we got to temper our expectations on the production, right? Because in this offense, the leading receiver gets 41 catches, right? But your leading rusher gets 205 attempts, 1,200 yards on the ground, right? And you got to believe that this is going to be a little bit different. That was Irv Mulligan at Jackson State. Might be an aberration for them as far as running the ball or running backs that they have personnel-wise on the depth chart. But year to year, though, Jackson State does this on the ground. They run the football. This is one thing they're going to do. They're going to run the football. Let's check out 2023, what they did on the ground. I think moving past the Coach Prime era, that's what Jackson State is now. You know, more of a run-first team. This thing is still loading. More of a run-first team or a team that really runs it to pass the ball, right? You'll see that a lot of times, a lot of these RPO teams. I feel like Jackson State is an RPO team. You run the ball in order to pass the ball, right? There has to be some order of philosophy in this and what you do. And I guess my internet's going slow right now, but year to year, Jackson State is usually a rushing team, and nothing wrong with that. But I am concerned a little bit for these pass catchers. You see what I mean? So talk about passing-wise. At quarterback, let's see last year. I don't think at quarterback, that's 20. Oh, we finally went to the right season. Let's go 2024. At quarterback, I don't think Ethan Terrell had any snaps last year. Yeah, no, he had no snaps last year. I'm looking at it right now. Nah. All right, so I do kind of want to get into Ethan Terrell a little bit. The thing with Ethan Terrell that I like is that he's going to be the guy pushing Jacoby Morgan this year at quarterback. And we kind of see, like, as a passer, Jacoby Morgan isn't the best quarterback. So year to year, guys are going to be able to push him for that second spot or push him to see what he is as a quarterback. So this year, it just happens to be this guy, Ethan Terrell. But he's going to be a sophomore this year, pretty young, and possibly could be the next guy going up for Jackson State. The only thing I kind of push back on with that, right, is what's the best way to put it? Why does your quarterback need to be pushed every year? Right? And it's good. Competition is healthy. But why does this guy in particular have to be pushed so hard every year to show that he's the number one guy? That's the only reservation I have about Jacoby and Morgan is that he has to be pushed. Even last year, he looked pretty good as a quarterback, but going week to week, he had to be pushed, right? Even going to the SWAC championship, right? He wasn't even a starter. What's up with that, right? What are we really getting from that? You got to wonder. There's one more, I believe it's one more Jackson State clip, because they did have, after their scrimmage, there was also an interview. Let's just put it in. Let's find it. Let's find it on the spot, man. Jackson State. First practice. First scrimmage. All right, let's give it a look. Not gonna lie, I'm not seeing it. But essentially, we got a more in-depth reply to the scrimmage. What we got on that last interview right there was more of just talking about how things are going in general for camp. But off of Jackson State, though, we'll get into the second most favorite team in the SWAC, and that is Southern, the Southern University Jaguars. Let's talk about them a little bit. So with Southern, they just had another scrimmage, their third scrimmage of training camp. Things are beginning to heat up. Shout out to Kevin Baptiste. But he has some thoughts from the third scrimmage. Number one, Terrence Graves says the QB competition is still open, but Jalen Woods is QB1. It's obvious. Kind of funny. I mean, like we didn't know that already. I talked to y'all about Jamari Jones a couple weeks ago, and he's off the team now since then, whatever. Next one. Next bullet point. The real battle is at running back, which I thought was very interesting, right? 'Cause we got We got the new running back from LSU that just went down there. He walked on down the road, and he is walking on to this Southern team. D-line is also still good. And it allows me to joking around. So let's take a look. What's going on? WAFB, shout out to y'all for getting some coverage of this Southern scrimmage. Let's take a look at it. Hello. Nice. Them jump cups was crazy. I think that's the boy from Southern. It's a good run, too. I really want to see the Southern D-line versus Jackson State's O-line. I really do. All right, so yeah, no, that was cute. You know, there was decent little sprint, third scrimmage. You can kind of tell that the other quarterbacks pretty much couldn't do anything, at least out of these highlights right here. I saw nothing that I liked out of any other quarterback other than Jalen Woods. I think Jalen Woods threw that deep ball. I mean, what will Southern be this year, right? That's the real question for Southern. What will Southern be? Now we see that Jalen Woods is going to be their starting, their QB1, right? Let's take a look at Jalen Woods in his past year. I think that Southern goes as far as Jalen Woods goes, if we want to keep it completely honest. I think that Southern does as well as Jalen Woods does, right? Because Jalen Woods was named the starting QB, like you see my boy Locked On, in April 3rd. So we already knew what he was as a quarterback. We knew his skill. We knew what was coming with Jalen Woods. Pause. But can he stay healthy? And what type of difference can he make for this offense, right? Check out a couple of his stats right here. Versus Nichols, 10-17, 58% pass completion. Against Arkansas Pine Bluff, a team that only won like one game last year. 14 for 22, 202 yards. And I think that's a touchdown. We only got to see a really small sample size of what Jalen Woods was because he was battling with Zay T-Set and a couple other quarterbacks last year. But with the reins and with him doing this full time this year, you really got to wonder, how far will Southern go? How far will they take it? Because really the Southern Jaguars team, they've been to the SWAC championship just about 3 or 4 years in a row. I think Prairie View A&M broke it up one time. Other than Prairie View A&M doing that, it's been all Southern on that SWAC West. I've come on here before and said that I think that window is closed. I think it's over with. When B.J. Jones hopped on HBCU Nightly about a day ago on Sunday, he got to speaking about Southern in their non-conference games, and I want to say they're like 3-19 against teams under 500 in the past 3 years. And you are also a team that's expected to be in the SWAC championship. Something is not computing, right? Maybe it's the schedule. The schedule's too weak. Or maybe, just maybe, the SWAC West is garbage. Maybe it's just garbage. Maybe there's no way around it. Maybe Southern is taking advantage of a weak SWAC West. Maybe, just maybe, if the SWAC did away with divisions, Southern wouldn't be in the SWAC championship back to back to back with no wins. And I don't mean to go in on Southern like this, but y'all just in the crossfires right now because the SWAC should have been get away with divisions, right? You already lost. You don't protect rivalries because Jackson State and Grambling had to schedule a non-conference game just to play each other, and Jackson State and Southern had to schedule a non-conference game just to play each other. So you don't protect rivalries through divisions. So what are we really doing with divisions right now? Right? Is it really protecting us in travel, or can a more fluid schedule help travel and help the viewers see even better games, right? Because that's what's the biggest thing right now. We would like to see quality content on that football field. And in a lot of cases, we're missing it because we're seeing UAPB play Valley. We're watching Valley play Jackson State. Where in actuality, maybe Valley and Texas Southern was a better matchup, right? And we do get to see some of these games. But what I present is that Southern has been benefiting from a weak SWAC West for the past 3 years. And I believe that this year is the year to put up or shut up, because years after this, it is no longer Southern SWAC West. I feel that the SWAC West is now shifting. I feel Alcorn State gaining a lot of momentum. They begin to attract a lot of talent. I'm feeling previewing it. A&M begin to attract a lot of talent. I feel like the tables are turning. Okay? Similar to how we felt when Fort A&M began to take over the SWAC East, right? Soon after Coach Prime left. Everybody began to sniff it again, began to feel like, well, maybe this is now FAMU's division to lose, right? I think this is the last year of Southern and their reign on the SWAC West. If they want to continue it, it's going to be based on Kelby Gibbs and that defense and Jalen Woods in the quarterback situation. Aside from that, I'm having a hard time buying in on Southern in the future, right? I'm having a very hard time buying in on Southern in the future. I like Trey Holly at running back. I wonder what year Trey Holly is. He might be a nice addition for them, okay? But changing gears. We're still going camping, right? We camping all around the South, all around the East Coast. Next up, we got Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M had a scrimmage. This was their first fall camp scrimmage. And we're going to take a look at how it went. Nick Kuzma was down there with the team, was able to see what's going on. We're going to take a look at what's going on. Let's see what Alabama A&M has cooking up. Nick Kuzma said the defense dominated early. The offense had a counterpunch, and the kicking game was nearly perfect for Alabama A&M's first fall scrimmage. Offense got hit in the mouth a bit early. I thought they could come back. I thought they came back and responded. That's Coach Sam Shade. So let's take a look at what happened, y'all.
A tale of two halves, a football cliche through and through, but very much the story at Alabama A&M's first scrimmage of fall camp.
I thought the offense got hit in the mouth a little bit early. I thought they came back and responded, and I like the fact that they did that.
Early on, it very much looked like the defense.
TC, what's the deal?
As receivers dropped balls, and the defensive line and linebackers lived in the backfield, causing offensive drives to end in punts. Coach Sam Shade gives us some insight on who makes up and who is impressing on the D-line.
Xavier Booker inside at defensive tackle. He's doing some good things. Jay Brown, the other defensive tackle, he's a local guy from Sparkman High School, transferred in to us. And then you go to defensive end, Smallwood. He's a new guy that's playing really good, doing some good things. Kylan Roberts, number 10, the other defensive end. All those guys are actually new to us, and they bring a lot of intensity, and they play hard.
The offense did eventually punch back, scoring at least 4 touchdowns and kicking a field goal in the later part of the scrimmage. 3 of the offensive units had drives end in points, and likely starting quarterback Quad Brown threw 2 touchdown passes while also serving as the leader, trying to motivate the offense to find its counterpunch to the early defensive dominance.
I'm really positive. I'm a delusional optimist. Whenever things are going bad, I always find a way, to find a positive in the darkness and find a way to bounce back. So I think, coaching guys up and explaining to a guy, especially when he's down, what he does well. Like, listen, man, you usually make that play, dog. I need that.
Another thing of note was the kicking game. The kickers looked great during the first scrimmage. With the exception of one bad operation, all field goals and extra points were made.
Coach Amos Jones does a great job with our special teams. Obviously, he's been everywhere, NFL, college, you name it. He's been there. But he does a really good job with our specialists, all the way from our long snapper, who's a freshman actually, Bentley from Tuscaloosa County, does a really good job with his snap times. Also, our new kicker. We got 2 guys that are fighting for that kicking position, and then we got a couple guys fighting for the punt position, but they're all doing a great job.
The Bulldogs are off Sunday, watch film on Monday, and return to the field on Tuesday for fall camp practice number 10.
Whoa.
They will play their second and final scrimmage Saturday.
Hold on.
Guys fighting for the punt position, but they're all doing a great job.
I don't want to hear nothing y'all got to say. Look at this throw, though. Huh? What? What? Nah, I ain't gonna lie. That's pretty crazy, G. Cornelius Quad Brown. That was him on the throw right there. But Alabama A&M, it's a lot to say about him. Grambling finna cut up. Let me check the chat real quick. Grambling finna cut up. Grambling, I'm not sure what Grambling finna do. I don't think they finna cut up, though. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't really trust Coach Mickey Joseph at this point. My boy TC says put up or shut up, but also QB1's first full season, so we'll see. 100%. 100%. Part of Jalen Woods and his progression is a little interesting because his progression won't necessarily be on pace with the program if he's not able to win games this year, right? If Jalen Woods can't come in and win some football games and do some things on his feet and extend plays and really make this offense believe in him, it's going to be very tough for his development. And it could be he's in a difficult position because this should be his first full year. He should be able to progress and develop at his own rate. But instead, Southern is in SWAC championship mode. There's not really much time for you to sit back and grow. So let me put in even in context for what Southern got going on. When you think about how Southern is such in contention for the SWAC West, they don't have any backup quarterbacks, right? Or at least any sustainable backup quarterbacks. Coach Terrence Graves apparently said Jalen Woods is our guy. He's number one. That's it. If you don't have that depth at quarterback, you're not able to take that guy out, right? Which means you live and you die on the success of Jalen Woods, which could be good or could be very bad. Like very, very bad. It could be doomsday. So in a couple of cases, Southern is really rolling the dice on Jalen Woods, and I think because AT said left, they went all in on Jalen Woods in the spring, right? If we want to keep it a bean. They went all in on Jalen Woods in the springtime, and now turn around into the fall time, you got to stay all money in on them, right? That transfer portal opens, but you may not get anybody of quality this late. Keep it a bean. So, them being your only option means that we got to put full stock, full resources into Jalen Woods to make him our guy. So, yeah, that's all I got on Jalen Woods. I think he'll be an interesting quarterback to watch throughout the season because Southern is such a good team, and they'll be playing in some very big games. But switching gears to Alabama A&M, I am becoming a little bit bullish on Alabama A&M. You know, Quad Brown, they didn't make mention of it, but Quad Brown, the quarterback at Alabama A&M, has been in college for 7 years. Not 4, not 5, not 6, 7 years. The boy been there for a minute. Undergrad, graduate, he might be getting his master's at this point. He's been in school for a minute. He's going to lead this offense. I always say, right, if you have a new coach, the first thing he has to do to succeed is find his quarterback. And look, he found him. I'm not even going to front with you. He found his quarterback. Quad Brown is the guy. Mekhi Higgins, we talked about him last week, had some academic troubles. I'm even seeing some kind of mixed coding on Twitter. Some of the teammates talking about some free 9 and this and that. Look, man, free you from them academics, man. If academics is the problem, I don't want to hear free nothing, okay? So put into perspective what Coach Shamshade is inheriting Alabama A&M and Quad Brown. I think finding your quarterback first is what helps you the most, right? Number 2, up front. What are we going to do up front? And I'm not going to lie, we are unsure what Alabama A&M looks on the offensive line and the defensive line. So we're not sure, right? But one thing is for certain. If Coach Sam Shade has shown us anything during his coaching tenure, is that he is a defensive guy. Like defense. Like defense with the D and the fence. Like, hold on. I can't put my hand in the screen. And the fence. You feel me? It got both sides. So when you talk about Alabama A&M, this team will look exponentially different this time next year. I guarantee you. I've seen the Miles squads that Coach Sam Shade has put together. A lot of times, very strong defenses, extremely uber athletic wide receivers. He's a good wide receiver scout too. He like defense, but he like wide receivers too. But his squads traditionally have a hard time finding a quarterback that can take them over the hump, right? Right now, Miles has a quarterback named Cameron Ivory. He's been Sam Shay's quarterback for the past 2-3 years, right? His only issue is that he has not been able to get them over the hump other than last year. Okay, before then, Cam Ivory battled injuries and he battled consistency issues, and a lot of times they lose some big games in the SIAC in the latter part of the season, right? So with Coach Sam Shay now, you have Quad Brown, who's going to be the starting quarterback, right? The QB1. This is the first time Alabama A&M has had a QB1 since Akil Glass. Let's all be for real now, y'all. They have not had a QB1 since Akil Glass. They've been alternating QBs, you take the second quarter, you take 2-minute drill, you take the start of the second half, you take the start of the fourth quarter. They've been doing this BS. We passed the first 10 minutes. They've been doing this bullshit for 2 years. Now you got a new head coach, and suddenly you can find QB1, which is great. Combine that with the fact that Alabama A&M has also retained their offensive coordinator. Coach Jason May is still there. Coach Mai is still there for Alabama A&M. So you get to keep their quarterback and you keep the offensive coordinator, right? If you're Sam Shade, that's what you're walking into. This is a good place to walk into if you're talking about an Alabama A&M team that's trying to compete in a very difficult SWAC East, right? You walk into a SWAC East. SWAC East is full of piranhas, beasts, lions, tigers, and bears, right? You got Jackson State, they a monster. You got Alabama State, defensive monster. You got Florida A&M, recruiting monster. You're Alabama A&M now. I think that in year one, Sam Shade could 100% finish in the top 3 in the SWAC East, right? There's a world where I can see Jackson State, Alabama A&M, FAMU, Mississippi Valley. There's a world where I can completely see that. There's also a world where I can see Alabama A&M winning 3 or 4 games this year, right? Because this complete changeover to becoming a now defensive team is going to come with a lot of changes to personnel and a lot of changes to the staff, right? Because number one, you got to be able to recruit those guys to get them to go to Alabama A&M, which shouldn't be that hard. You got to come to Miles. This shouldn't be that hard at all. But number two, personnel-wise, you have to have the right players, right? You want to run this defensive system that Miles runs. Miles ran a very, I couldn't even tell you, I think it was 4-3. It's an attacking style defense. Alabama A&M hasn't seen this in years. Coach Maynard ain't ran no defense in 5 years, right? So Coach Shea coming in year one, you're not necessarily going to get all the defensive output that you want from your typical squad. But you got to believe that this team is going to give every bit of effort in hustling on defense and getting to the ball, swarming to the ball, right? If you ever saw Miles College play against Alabama State, expect that out of these Alabama A&M teams, right? Expect a very strong team. And look, I even saw on HBCU nightly, some people were doubting Coach Sam Shade as a coach. And let me tell you this. The SIAC has been keeping these conferences alive for the past 4-5 years. And I'm pretty sure they've been doing this the whole time. 4 or 5 years and 100%, right? You want to talk about Coach Sean Gibbs at North Carolina A&T. He has been picked to rejuvenate North Carolina A&T, right? Last year, he was a coach at Fort Valley State. Another coach, Chennis Berry, was tabbed as the guy that's going to bring South Carolina State back to greatness and going to carry the torch from Coach Buddy Pugh. Well, Coach Chennis Berry came from Benedict College in the SIAC. Coached there for 4 years. Coach Sam Shade coached at Miles, battled with Coach Sean Gibbs and Coach Chennis Berry. Gets the upgrade, gets hired at Alabama A&M to be the head coach. We got to understand where these coaches are coming from and the merit that they have. Miles College could have beat Alabama State in a football game. Miles College has 30 scholarships. Alabama State has 40 plus scholarships. Understand who you're talking to when you're talking about Sam Shade, Chennis Berry, Sean Gibbs, all these guys out of the SIAC. These are your rags to riches stories, okay? These are dudes from the streets. You don't really want to mess with these guys, okay? These are the guys that have been squabbling, okay? Knuckles bruised up, right? So with Sam Shade, I'm expecting this Alabama A&M team to become a much stronger team overall, right? With Coach Maynard, we saw a very strong offense, weakened defense. With this Alabama A&M team this year, I'm expecting to see a slightly better offense and defense, but in years future, I'm 100% ready to see Alabama A&M become a defensive monster. And I know it's very hard to see right now. I'm pretty sure they allow about 30 points a game, but that's quickly going to change, and it's going to go down to about 20 points a game. Sam Shade don't play that. Moving on. If you want to talk about quality teams, if you want to talk about teams that are, adding players consistently, you got to talk about the MEAC, and you got to talk about Norfolk State, right? You got to talk about Norfolk. So even when you bring up Norfolk, what we're gonna do, we're gonna watch some of this preseason talk that the different news outlets have talking about Coach Vic, and then we'll go from the news outlets to seeing the actual interview. He just did an interview a couple days ago talking about what's going on around camp. So let's get into what's going on from the news perspective, right? Let's get into it.
Under first-year head coach Michael Vick, the season opener against Towson, August 28th, rapidly approaching, and it's a group that's re-energized to restore the pride in the green and gold on the gridiron. Okay, welcome into the show, and happy Monday, everyone. This morning at Dick Price Stadium, we were there to catch about 20 minutes of the open part of Norfolk State's practice. There's a lot of new names that will be contributing to the 2025 team, and a lot of new leaders that are changing the culture. James Catato has more.
We know where we stand, we know where we sit, we know where we coming from, but just because you're at the bottom don't mean you got to stay there.
Pretty powerful stuff there from first-year Norfolk State head football coach Michael Vick as the Spartans open up fall camp today and are now only 3 weeks away from a brand new era of Spartan football. Hi, everyone. I'm James Catato coming to you from Dick Price Stadium, the location where Norfolk State will open its season week 1 under the lights August 28th against Towson. This Vic-led era, this Vic-led team at Norfolk State feels different. It feels a lot more intense. During practice today, if you ask Coach Vic what the biggest difference is between spring ball to now, they are coming, and they are looking to turn this program around.
I just like the fact that our offense come out and compete just as hard as our defense, and then vice versa, and they push one another. And I just told them, it's like a heavyweight boxing match.
We're just ready to make a statement. This team is bought into everything.
A lot of eyes are going to land on junior quarterback Izzy Carter, who Vic named the starter of this team. He's electrifying with his feet, got a strong arm, and he's rocking that patented number 7 that Coach Vic made pretty legendary.
They wear that 7.
We're going to be an explosive offense. We're going to attack the field. We're going to take shots. We're going to do whatever we got to do, but we're going to be aggressive. We're not going to let up. It's going to be fast tempo offense.
Doesn't look like this group is going to be all offense either. Completely new look defense behind a coaching staff that wears shirts with Hunt on the back, telling the defense to attack the offense with.
All right, here we go. Hunt, hate. All right, unrelenting, nerveless, and tenacious. Okay, I like that. Yeah, he's a big words for this.
Aced, all while being unrelenting, nerveless, and tenacious. Those 28.5 points per game they allowed last season, not going to slide with this group.
We just dogs out there. That's why we hunt. That's why it's on the back of our shirt, because we just hunt. I just can't wait. I can't even fathom the energy I'm gonna have out there. So it's coming soon. It's only 3 weeks away. So, but we getting prepared. We gonna put on the show out there.
The college football world will be checked into Dick Price Stadium on August 28th as the green and gold make a push for MEAC gold.
So MEAC, Norfolk, I think they were picked to be second last in the MEAC this year.
Been a year of firsts for Michael Vick. First spring practice, first spring game, first MEAC Media Day, and now we arrive at first fall camp. Vic has his Norfolk State team ramping up ahead of its first game as a head coach. That's 3 weeks from this Thursday. Vic and the Spartans out on the field this morning, and make no mistake, the green and gold looking much different than in years past, in a good way. Vic saying after practice that South Florida transfer Israel Carter, he's your QB1, but Otto Kuhn's also getting reps with the first team as he wants there to be competition. Vic may be a first-time head coach, but he's working not to carry himself that way and expects his guys to be ready to go come week 1.
I know I'm a rookie head coach, but I'm not going to act like a rookie head coach. I'm going to act like I've been here before. You know, I want my players to be confident in me, my decision-making, my abilities to trust them in all facets, in all situations. And, you know, that's what we're trying to build here.
We don't really pay attention to what everybody, their expectations, but we appreciate it. And so we just take it into practice, and we know that we got to push each other because we don't want to let our fans down, let the city down. We want to leave a great mark out when we step out on the field August 28th.
Yeah, and August 28th, that season opener at home.
Okay, you heard a little about Izzy Carter. Hey, man, Michael Vick talked to the media like he hate him. I ain't gonna lie. He be looking at them like, bro, get out of my face. All right, so let's take out the full interview, man. This is Coach Vick and Izzy Carter. So that's the head coach of Norfolk State, Coach Michael Vick, and Israel Carter, which is the starting quarterback for Norfolk State, rocking number 7 right now. Let's listen to what they got talking about.
What's changed since the spring and now?
What's changed? I just think our knowledge of the game, the competitiveness is just on full display every day. We go back and forth. Some days the offense wins, some days the defense wins.
Hey, this audio is terrible. Let me know if y'all can hear this.
Just challenging them to push each other every day. You know, just holding them accountable. So I think as far as our attitude and just football competence, you know, getting better every day.
You don't have much time to, like, step back and take it in on your life. Did you take a second to be like, hey, it's my first camp as a head coach, and, you know, I'm taking this all in?
Yeah, I mean, I took a second to, you know, this reality, it is what it is, but, you know, sometimes, you know, you can't act as if you were in a situation that you're in. Like, I know I'm a rookie head coach, but I'm not going to act like a rookie head coach. I'm not like I've been here before. You know, I want my players to be confident in me, my decision making, my ability to trust them in all facets, in all situations. And, you know, that's what we're trying to build here. So, yeah, it's a lot of things that I'm on a day-to-day basis that I might have to ask questions about or get some knowledge of, or they know some other coaches for, but, you know, we got an incredible staff and we work together.
I saw the HUNT acronym on the back of some of the coaches' shirts. Paced, unrelenting, nerveless, and tenacious. What sparked that? Why'd you want that?
Yeah, well, our defensive coaches, they got their mantra. You know, their mantra is to hunt, get after the ball, get the ball, knock it out to it, pick it off, whatever. However you get the ball in your hands, you know, we understand. The ball is a program, and we want to protect it, we also want to take it away.
What is the word, if you had to use one word to describe this year's Norfolk State team?
Tough. Yeah. Tough thing. Got a lot of attitude. Just got to channel it in the right places and in the right direction. Keep things going in the right direction. Keep believing, keep bringing the energy every day. You know, we know that our camp is only going to get harder before the break camp. You know, the guys acknowledging it and embracing it, and you know, this camp is what it is.
What are the opening, I guess, stages of fall camp about for you guys? Install is about kind of getting like into the groove of things. What are you looking to get out of the first couple weeks of fall camp?
Yeah, you know, first couple weeks of camp is just about. I talked to the guys about this. Just going back to the basics. You know, we want to be able to just play as fast as we can. You know, while being able to add and subtract, you know, on a daily basis, continuous basis. But you know, they understand what we're trying to accomplish. And each day we add a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and it's going to continue to happen. So, you know, we like challenging them to, you know, understand the playbook, understand the whys of why we're trying to do things, the reasons why we're trying to do things, and then we press forward from there.
What do you like about the offense and the defense?
What's that?
What are you liking about the offense and the defense?
I just like the fact that our offense come out and compete just as hard as our defense, and then vice versa, and they push one another. I just don't like that.
Hold on, we gotta pause it real quick. Hold on. The boy is being mighty secretive about what's going on. He keep making these real vague like responses. I feel like in a couple cases, Mike Vick really don't want to show his hand yet. And I think he might have some underneath the sleeve, man. Let's keep listening though.
With boxing, don't go back and forth. I've never seen a football game where things are picture perfect, expected to be picture perfect. some ups and downs and resilience in the fourth quarter game. You got 4 quarters to make it right. And it don't matter if the clock says 50-0. That's
You're pretty complimentary of the guys and just trying to work with you and you working with them, everybody kind of being new to this whole thing. How's that been in camp? Just everybody kind of working together, the players getting on board and up to speed, everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just, we took the knowledge that we gained in the spring and we just carried it over. We didn't try to reinvent the wheel. We know where we at. We know what we're trying to accomplish. We got to take it one day at a time, one practice at a time, one snap at a time. We can't, we're going to start visualizing certain things. We like on a week-to-week basis right now, and we know that the 28th is right around the corner. But we got to just stay locked into where we are right now, and then we'll start visualizing some other things.
I know you're locked in, but how excited are you for Towson on
I'm very excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for these guys. I'm excited for the young men putting in the hard work, train, their ass off over the summer, believe in themselves and believe in one another, most important. And we'll try to maximize every opportunity. We know where we stand, we know where we sit, we know where we're coming from, but just because you're at the bottom, don't mean you got to stay there.
You spoke about the competitive nature of offense versus defense early on here. We saw Izzy and King score during the portion here. What did you see from those guys early on in the game? Izzy.
A lot of trash talk. Never seen a quarterback talk so much trash at the quarterback. And he will be. But that's all about polishing up. You put so much time and effort and work into trying to come out and be successful, down after down after down. If you have that success, sometimes you gotta let it out. And so I allow them to be themselves, allow them to have fun. When we do things the right way and we win, we're gonna win the class.
Is your QB1 at this point?
Is he QB1? Yeah, Izzy's QB1. Izzy get reps with the first team. Otto get reps with the first team. Right now it's more about competition. It's about creating a competitive environment where they push each other. I don't want anybody to get complacent or feeling like, every day doesn't matter. And so, we'll always just approach it, open book, competitive atmosphere, and, whoever playing the best will play.
Nah. I ain't gonna let you get away with that, Coach Vic. My boy. Look. They said that Izzy gets reps with the ones. He says, but Otto gets reps with the ones too. Izzy QB1 and he wants somebody to push him. We get it. It's the first time we actually see him actually reveal his hand throughout this whole time. So Israel Carr is going to be QB1. Look like Kevin King going to be starting that running back for Norfolk.
Well, and then you said something about not acting like a rookie head coach. You've been out here now for the spring and into fall camp now. Do you not feel like a rookie head coach anymore?
I guess until I get to game day, get that first game under my belt, I won't feel like a rookie head coach. But every day I walk out there, I feel like I get more experience, more confidence, more belief. I think they gain more experience, more confidence, and more belief in me. And, our marketing just trust the process, and I think we all just trust in the process. I got to trust and take it one day at a time as well.
Perfect.
So, all right, that's Coach Vic. Izzy Carter gets in here. Not too much to listen to, but I do want to get some takeaways from Coach Vic and what we got with Coach Vic. Really, when you talk about Coach Vic and what he's going to build down Norfolk State, you got to get a little worried right now. Right now is when you get a little worried, okay? You see that they haven't had any big injuries. You see they pretty much have a lot of guys they already brought in. And up to this point, Norfolk, it kind of seems like they are hiding their best moves. All right? It seems like they're hiding their best moves. And while we here, I do want to do this. Let's go through Norfolk State's coaching staff, because that's going to be important too when you talk about who they got over there. Yeah, Darius Holmes, you gone now. All right, so right now they got Coach Brian Shepard, offensive coordinator. It's going to be their offensive coordinator. We saw a couple of his interviews before, y'all. He's going to call plays for him. Wish we had more info on him. We could find some, though. Let's see. Brian Shepard, football coach. Let's see what we got. So, looked like he was at Towson in 2023. Let's take a look. All right, so here's our offensive coordinator here. Brian Shepard's offensive coordinator at Towson back in 2023. He's actually going to play Towson this year, which is pretty interesting. Over here, team's 5+ pass touchdown performance 2019. He's also at Stetson too. Stetson does a pretty good job. You talk about football programs. They had a top passing offense in the Pioneer League, 295 yards at Stetson. Also had the offensive freshman of the year. Freshman offensive player of the year. All right. I mean, hey, man, he got a little track record on him, right? You want to talk about Coach Steph. He got a little track record on him. But really, like, I feel like Norfolk is going to be very good this year. I have not been as bullish on them the entire year, but the closer we get to the season, the more we learn about what Norfolk has. I feel as though this might be a scary team for the MEAC because they don't really fit in with everybody else in the MEAC, right? You want to talk about the MEAC, you want to talk about the big three teams, you want to talk about North Carolina Central, you're going to talk about Morgan State, and you're going to talk about the obvious South Carolina State, right? They just won the MEAC. So really, when you think about a Norfolk State squad, you're like, well, how do they fit in here, right? Like, do they fit in here? But if you gotta ask me, that's a pretty good dark horse. It's a pretty good dark horse. The same road that Morgan State has played for years, but they can't get. I mean, they're stuck in the dark because they don't got a quarterback. But when you want to talk about a squad that is just as deep as some other squads or has just as many questions as South Carolina State, that's Norfolk, right? They had just as many questions as Howard, just as many questions as Delaware State. To me, they're more on a playing field with the MEAC than most people think, right? I think that they could potentially finish in that third spot, depending on how Norfolk and Morgan State play each other. So when you look at the MEAC, you got to think about Norfolk being a team that could be a spoiler. I think they play spoiler. Not sure if they play for the whole championship. I think they play spoiler. Maybe they get a chance to beat South Carolina State, a chance to beat Morgan State, a chance to beat North Carolina Central. And in those instances, if Norfolk can beat North Carolina Central, we can get back into that type of tie scenario that the MEAC loves to do. And I think they kind of stopped a lot of those 3-way, 4-way, 5-way ties and stuff. But we can talk about some tie scenarios because you only got a 5-game conference schedule, right? That means the team has to leave undefeated. And I don't think there is any team in the MEAC that will go undefeated in conference play this year. I honestly can't see it. I couldn't see it last year, and I really can't see it this year. So in Norfolk, you talk about a pretty good squad, a squad that's building week to week, but also a team that has a lot of unknowns because we haven't got to see a lot of their star players do their thing just yet. And we're gonna see that very soon, right? Norfolk's gonna come out and they're gonna have their opening games, and we're gonna see a Norfolk State team that looks much different than last year's team and a much more talented squad, in my opinion. So there's one more thing I do want to get into with Norfolk State, and that is the fact that they got this game at Lincoln Financial Field against Delaware State. And it's a pretty big game, right? Big enough, what's this big ad right here? Big enough to attract some great names and to really, you get to see them on NBC Sports Philadelphia. So we'll take a listen to what they got to talk about. But this is Deshaun Jackson and Coach Mike Vick talking at a presser for their game. It's going to be in September.
For a long time.
Let's start this over. Pause that. All right. Let's take a listen.
Be real, like all those years I played, I seen how much time the coaches spent in the buildings after practice, meetings. So for me, that was scarceful to me. I said, when I'm done with football, I don't want to be nowhere in the building that long, right? So now to be in the seat, I was curious to see, like, what type of coach would I be? So I had to ask my mentors. I had to ask guys like Andy Reid. I had to pick up the phone and humble myself because when you got an opportunity in life, I mean, the way we was raised and the way we grew up, I mean, we feel like we could be successful in anything. But, you know, the thing is, we never done this before. And people ask, why would you go hire Michael Vick or Deshaun Jackson, right? So with anything in life, you have to go through it to have experience, right?
What can the fans expect at Lincoln Financial Field on October 30th?
Man, you know, the link gets crazy already. So now you got two legends. I mean, it's gonna be hype, man. I think it's gonna be a lot of conversations before the game, but during the game, we ain't gonna talk. It's gonna be heated. 'Cause I know how he is and I know how I am. So
It's gonna be a lot of energy.
Yeah, we both competitors, and we're gonna push our guys to the edge. You know, hopefully, and in this moment, definitely don't want to overlook the opponents that we have coming up. We both got a game in 2 weeks on the 28th, so got to be respectful to that. But when we cross that bridge on the 30th of October, it's gonna be very competitive, and that's what me and Deshaun is. We've been in the huddle together. We know we came back in games together. We came out swinging and smoking in games together. And so, this is an opportunity for us to really put what we've learned over the last, year on display. And I would say this, you can expect to see us doing this for a long time.
Nice. All right. So there it is. You want to talk about the start of the Vic era. The Vic era has started. I'm not gonna lie. We not seeing a lot of coverage of Mike Vick like with Deion. This is not the same. This is not the same situation. When you want to talk about star power and what a celebrity does, this is a different situation. And it's not like it's the worst situation or something like that. But it's just different. It's just different. We gotta just say it's just different. Mike Vick still got aura just like Deion, right? No difference. But I'd say the one major difference is the amount of resources that Coach Prime brought to Jackson State in comparison to what type of resources Mike Vick has been using himself. I mean, we gotta keep it a buck. The coaching staff that Coach Prime put together at Jackson State was a top tier coaching staff. I might be able to argue that was a better coaching staff than what Mike Vick has put together at Norfolk State. You got to keep it clean across the board, right? Also, not necessarily saying like the resources in the money or anything that Coach Prime gave Jackson. I don't think he gave anything like that. I think that the timing that Coach Prime came to Jackson State while they're in the midst of rebuilding their football practice field, while they're in the midst of trying to get a new weight room, while they're in the midst of upgrading facilities, worked out great for optics, but it was also a great time by Coach Prime. I mean, it'd be different if Mike Vick was coming to Norfolk in the midst of a new indoor practice facility being built. It just looks different, right? It looks very different. So when you think about what Coach Vick is going to do down at Norfolk, you're going to talk about a guy that wants to win games. Immediately, it's going to be Coach Vick. He seems like he's one of the most serious new coaches I've ever seen. He seemed more serious than Sam Shade. We just saw Sam Shade. Sam Shade is tense, right? Mike Vick seems more serious than that. I ain't seen the boy laugh or chuckle really once. He kind of like laughed a little bit with Deshaun, but you could tell that he didn't really want to laugh at that joke. I'm a little worried. It seemed like the boy Mike Vick is on demon time. He's on timing right now. So when you think about a Norfolk State team, got to wonder how his players play underneath him, right? Players play like their coach. The coach leads, and the players play like the coach, right? You'll see Delaware State, their team's probably going to be very lax, very playful, probably some bunch of speed demons. They're going to play like Deshaun Jackson. But with Coach Mike Vick, we're learning. I didn't know Mike Vick's personality. I'm going to keep it buck. I haven't seen Mike Vick on a podcast, I don't think. I mean, maybe he was on there with Channing and them boys, but I don't really know Mike Vick's personality. So the personality that we are learning about is like this stone cold killer mentality. Like the boy is like a hitman or something. So you got to believe that Norfolk State is going to take on that personality and really push the way he pushes, right? Because that's the thing, right? Is your team, if you're a Hall of Famer like these guys, right? These guys are both Hall of Fame caliber players. If you're a Hall of Famer, how does that translate to your team, right? Because it doesn't just automatically, oh, he's good, I'm be good. No. How do you convey that to your team? How do you instill those same traits into your team through communication? Can you still do that? Can you make that connection, right? And that's what we're going to see out of these two guys. I think that we're going to see two very talented squads moving forward. And really with Coach Vick, I'm looking forward to seeing a team that is unlike some of these other HBCU squads, right? Like we saw Delaware State for the past 2-3 years under Lee Ho just look like paper mache versus anybody that's good. The lights went out? The beat go up? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Don't worry about nothing. There we go. All right, so like I was saying, when it comes to a Norfolk State team, you got to think that this team is gonna come with some firemen and they're gonna play like some assassins, just like they coach. So we're into the second hour of things. I just remembered, y'all. We didn't even talk about my top 10 QBs. Let's get into it. The top 10 QBs, according to Kelly Flicks. Number 1. Well, it ain't no number 1. But at top of the list, Isaiah Knowles, quarterback at Albany State. He is the preseason SIAC Player of the Year. He threw for around 2,300 yards last year, 20-plus touchdowns, and about 6 interceptions. That's one of my favorite quarterbacks in HBCU football. You want to talk about a quarterback that throws the ball over the yard? If you like spread offenses, you like a team that just throws it around, you want to go check out Albany State and what Coach Quinn Morgan is doing down there. Because last year they went to the SIAC championship. But they did go to the SIAC championship. They were at 1 game away from the SIAC championship, and they did not make it. But they were able to beat Coach Sean Gibbs' Fort Valley State team. So, Albany, excellent squad, man. I really like Isaiah Knowles. If we could watch highlights, we might watch highlights at the end of this. Isaiah Knowles makes some of the smoothest throws. And you want to talk about development, right? This is a quarterback that transferred from the Naval Academy. This brother was running wing T 2 years ago. And now he's throwing for 2,500 yards a year. That's development. Big shout out to Quinn Morgan down there at Albany State and what he's done with Isaiah Knowles and that Albany State team. And shout out to their blue turf, too. They got some dope blue turf. Okay, next on the list, though, Walker Harris. Now, this, I'm not going to lie, he was a fringe guy for me. He was definitely a fringe guy because I felt in some games, because Walker Harris didn't step up, North Carolina Central lost games, right? I think that he could have stepped up in that South Carolina State game. I'm not going to lie. I felt as though he was delegating too much to running backs, and I get it. Central is a run-first team, but when it's time to win in a big game, and that was a conference championship, when it's time to win in a big game, I'm expecting you to step up. Whoever you are, whatever star player you are, whether you're the right tackle, right guard, or quarterback, in the big games, I'm expecting you to be a guy, right? And let me make sure. Let's make sure, right? I don't want to go back and look and say, oh, Walker Harris had 300 yards versus South Carolina State. It could be true. I don't think so, though. But let's check it out, though. First, SC, SU. All right. So, football. No, not last year. Wasn't that. Football. There we go. Bam. Bam. Football history versus North Carolina Central. Let's take a look real quick. All right, it's 2024. Close game. 24-21, right? In this game, let's pull up the box score. EA, what's the deal? In this game, right, Walker Harris, if y'all seeing right here, 14 for 24, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 long pass, 66 yards, right? You guys can't really see it here, and I can't move the screen over, but I can't. Hold on. He went against Eric Phoenix, though, right? Eric Phoenix, alternate on the other side of him, right? Let's show the stats right here. 26 throws, 26 completions for 36 throws, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, right? That's being outdueled in the conference championship game, right? That's the one reason, right? While I'm a little bit hesitant on Walker Harris and being in my top QBs, right? My top QBs are all guys. You're going to come to find out they're all guys. So I put Walker Harris in here, though, because I think that he's ready to make that next leap, okay? I put him in, and I took out Mekhi Hagans because Mekhi Hagans can't get his academics right. Walker Harris, insert. I feel as though Walker Harris is going to take the next step this year, y'all. This is going to be one of his 3rd or 4th years it might be his 5th year at North Carolina Central. He was able to sit under Davius Richard for about 2 years, right, and learn. Now, he's no longer sitting behind Davius Richard. Davius Richard is now his quarterback's coach at North Carolina Central. Right? Talk about Buddy Love. Okay? The former guy that was your big homie is now your quarterback's coach. I think that helps you even more in more ways than not. So I like Walker Harris. I think he's going to take that next step this year. I don't feel like he's there yet, though. I honestly don't. I don't feel like he's there yet. I think he has a little bit of ways to go when you talk about being a top quarterback in the HBCU space. But for now, you good. You good with me, dog. You good with me, dog. So, next up on this list, Isaiah Freeman, right? Isaiah Freeman did not have a very good year last year at Lincoln, right? I think they won In total, they won 2 games. He threw for like 1,500, 1,600 yards. It was a dumpster fire. It was good for him to leave. I wish he would have got out of Lincoln faster, okay? Because now he comes into his redshirt senior year at Hampton, okay? Whereas, though, I feel like Isaiah Freeman was meant to be on a Division I level the whole time. The whole time. And the fact that he was dealing with Lincoln this past year, I think that hindered his success a little bit and hindered some of his stats. But at a lot of points in his career at Lincoln, you got to understand that the wins go through Isaiah Freeman. Whatever school he's going to be at, the wins go through Isaiah Freeman. And in more ways than not, he's going to be your offensive playmaker, right? Sometimes people go, oh, yeah, my receivers, get the receiver the ball, get that running back the ball. Just leave the ball in the hands of the quarterback, and he's going to make some special things happen. Isaiah Freeman was once the player of the year in the CIAA, right? Preseason player of the year, CIAA. So I do believe that he still has it. I do believe that Isaiah Freeman is going to make that Jackson State game a little bit harder than it has to be. He's not easily tackleable, okay? He's a guy with a big motor, very quick, and a quick twitch that lets go of that football. You got to wonder what Isaiah Freeman's going to do for Hampton in the CAA. The Colonial is a very interesting conference, but with a player making a jump from the CIAA to the CAA, you got to wonder what it's going to be. I think Isaiah Freeman, I think you should buy all the stock right now. The stock is probably super low. It might be a penny stock. Grab it all off the flow, right? And I think that he's going to be a 2,000-yard passer this year, guys. He has never played with the offensive line this good, like the offensive line he's going to see at Hampton. To put that in perspective, he's been running for his life at Lincoln for the past couple of years, just doing his thing, right? About a year ago, I can't remember his receiver's name. I think it was Malachi Langley or something like that. But just watch out for Isaiah Freeman when he finds his number one guy. When he finds his number one receiver, it gets nasty. It gets real spooky. EA, what you got for me in here, man? Remember this name, Jet Petty, FAMU, QB. Oh, I know him. Hold on. Is this the same Jet Petty? The same Jet Petty that played in Los Angeles? EA, do you know I'm in Los Angeles? Let's make sure, though. Jet Petty, yeah, Long Beach. Right? LBCC. Yeah, so I had a little cousin, Jalen Johnson, that going to Central State. He played for LBCC, too. I know all about Jet Petty. Jet Petty's a pretty good quarterback. My problem with FAMU is y'all ain't named the starting quarterback. It's not that it's if Jet Petty is good or not. It's that James Cozy can't pick a guy. He's been trying to pick a guy since the spring. I don't trust the guy making the decisions, not the quarterbacks on the roster. All right, this is a totally different thing with FAMU there. It ain't the issue with the personnel. Issue with the guy making the decisions at FAMU. I digress. Shout out to Jackson State. Jacoby and Morgan just had to be on this list. I mentioned him earlier, and I do feel like, he doesn't pass the ball super well. He's not 250 yards is probably the cap on his passing yards a game, right? But with Jacoby and Morgan, the dual threat ability more than makes up for it, right? He's a winner. And more importantly, he's a gamer. When you get in the game, you want a quarterback that's a gamer, a guy that wins the game by any means possible. Jacoby and Morgan will run over any player to score a touchdown, right? That's a gamer. A gamer is going to take the ball and run and make the play that we need to move the sticks, right? There's no question whether or not he's going to pull that trigger or not. So when you talk about Jacoby and Morgan, you got to talk about a quarterback that is a great decision maker. He is. For all the questions you may have with his arms, he makes great decisions passing the football. He tries his best not to turn it over, right? When he has a turnover bug is when you need to take him out, right? But a lot of times he takes care of the rock and he doesn't put himself in too many tough positions as a quarterback, right? A lot of safe positions, a lot of safe throws. He makes the right decisions to keep this offense on the field. So when you talk about a quarterback that you want on your team, give me Jacoby and Morgan 100%. There's no way I don't want this guy on my team. He's going to play hard, and he's also a guy you just give him the ball. He can move the sticks. That's what all these quarterbacks need to be. Guys that can move the sticks, right? Whether with your arm or with your legs. Find a way to do it, but you have to do it, right? Your job is to get first downs. It's not to look cute doing it. It's not to be the fastest on the field or to have the biggest arm. It's to get first downs. Jacoby Morgan might be the best quarterback on this list at doing that. Just purely moving the sticks. I love his quick twitch ability. I love his quick throws. I think he needs to work on his throws down the field. But I love his ability to move the ball with his feet. That's the X factor in this. I don't think any of the quarterbacks on this list run as well as Jacoby Morgan. He is probably the top dual threat quarterback in HBCU football this year, and he's a junior. Okay? Put in perspective for you. He's a guy, a gamer. Just give him the ball and let him go. Next up, my favorite. I got to put my bias out there because he's my favorite. My favorite HBCU quarterback, Kelvin Durham. Remember that name. Remember it. He makes a switch over from Fort Valley State, transfers to D2, Johnson C. Smith, right? Go play with Coach Flowers. He's going to play with an all-star cast, and do not be surprised when Kelvin Durham throws for 2,200 yards plus. Do not be surprised when Kelvin Durham throws for more than 20 touchdowns this year. All of these guys on this list, in my opinion, my humble opinion, will throw for at least 2,000 yards this year. At the minimum, 2,000 yards this year. And we'll circle back to this. Or if they don't, you circle me back to it, right? And we'll talk about it. Because Kelvin Durham is another one of those guys that I think is a flat-out gamer. Got to play at Fort Valley State last year and has been leading this team for the past 3 years. Transfers in to Johnson C. Smith his senior year to, quite frankly, get some hardware. His head coach left. Sean Gibbs left, right? He went to North Carolina A&T. So my boy Kelvin Durham goes up to North Carolina also. Go to Johnson C. Smith, right? At Johnson C. Smith, Coach Flowers has been developing a very strong team. They lost their quarterback, right, Darius Ocean, to the transfer portal in the spring around the same time Kelvin Durham came in, right? Since then, Darius Ocean is now the quarterback at Benedict College. Kelvin Durham is now the quarterback at Johnson C. Smith. He takes over the reins. Last year, Johnson C. Smith had a receiver named Brevin Caldwell that caught for 1,000 receiving yards. 1,000. To put in perspective what type of offense Kelvin Durham is walking into right now, right? He's going to come into an offense where they're passing the ball a lot. I talked to y'all about Jackson State's offense earlier, right? And how the leading receiver had 41 catches. Nothing wrong with it, but some people want to get more volume, right? And at Johnson C. Smith, they run a straight-up spread attack. These receivers are going to see a lot of volume, and your quarterback's going to have to make a lot of different throws, right? Which gives opportunity both ways, right? Opportunity for turnovers, an opportunity to win games through a lot of touchdowns, right? We saw last year at Clark Atlanta, David Wright down there teamed up with Teddy Keaton, threw for 25-plus touchdowns in his first year at Clark Atlanta. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this Kelvin Durham and Coach Flowers combination combined for 22-plus touchdowns this year. Do not sleep on Johnson C. Smith, and watch out for Kelvin Durham at quarterback. My last quarterback on this list, the quarterback that I think is probably the most prototypical quarterback, right? He's the most prototypical quarterback in the HBCU space, is Dalen Lee at Winston-Salem State. This quarterback stands at 6'4", 230 pounds. He looks the part. And I'm going to tell Winston-Salem this before I get into my analysis of the boy. Y'all better hold on to him. Y'all better hold on to him. I know a lot of schools that are looking for a 6'4", 230-pound pro-style quarterback. A lot of them. And I don't know if it was because of his numbers or if it was because y'all got some secret NIL program down there with the Stephen J. Gaithers. But there's a reason why Dalen Lee stayed. And I'm going to tell you this. If he throws for 20-plus touchdowns this year, I don't think Dalen Lee will be coming back to Winston-Salem State. That being said, this year is this year. I think that this year, Dalen Lee's going to have a great year. I think that he's going to be able to come out and show what he got because there's been so much talk about what Winston-Salem State loses, but you got to understand when a quarterback loses a lot of different pieces, usually more is asked out of him, which means their play increases. They become better quarterbacks most times, right? A good quarterback only gets better with less weapons. I'm sorry, it just kind of works out like that sometimes. We saw Cam Newton go to the Super Bowl with Ted Ginn Jr. And what's his name? Jericho Cotchery or whatever his name was. You see what I mean? Sometimes having less talent allows for quarterbacks to raise their level, raise their bar. Because for one, I can see Dalen Lee, like these other quarterbacks, beginning to develop his develop his receivers himself, right? I think that Dalen Lee can now begin to teach other younger receivers. You run this route, you cut here, expect the ball here, right? When you're running against a certain defense, find soft spots here, here, and here, right? Now, I think that Dalen Lee is getting into the next phase of his greatness, which is teaching and making players around him better. I think beforehand he had a lot of talent around him already, and now he is a part of developing the talent that's amongst him, right? And that makes you a better player. I'm going to keep it a buck. That makes you a better football player. When you understand what everybody else has to do in order for you to win football games, that makes you a better football player because now you can push your other teammates to be in those different positions and places to win football games. Previous to that, you didn't have to think about that. And you didn't know where they had to be to win football games, right? That's an acquired trait. It's a new skill to add to your repertoire. Everybody doesn't have that skill. And I think that with Dalen Lee as a quarterback, he already can make all the throws. He already is a good runner. Next is making all the players around you better, right? Amplifying their skill level through your expertise and your IQ. That's the next step for Dalen Lee, right? When I think about Dalen Lee going in the future, I think Dalen Lee could be an NFL quarterback. I'm keeping it 100% with y'all. I think he could be an NFL guy. He has the size for it. He has the arm for it. He makes great decisions with the ball. And he's a winner, right? Winston-Salem State was literally one play from beating North Carolina A&T last year. Upsetting a Division I program. Dalen Lee was one play from upsetting a Division I program. David Wright down at Clark Atlanta did it at Bethune-Cookman last year, and it made a lot of people look at David Wright differently. If Dalen Lee wins that game versus North Carolina A&T, North Carolina A&T goes winless last year. Winless. And you know what everybody would say? They had a chance to beat D2 Winston-Salem State, and they didn't do it. And who's behind that? Dalen Lee, right? They're one play away from winning that game. I think this next year, Winston-Salem State takes another step forward along with Dalen Lee. They have everything to succeed down there in Winston-Salem. And I have a hard time finding reasons for them not to succeed in the CIAA. So, guys, that's my top QBs and HBCUs going into 2025. These are my top 6 quarterbacks. Other quarterbacks that could be on this list, other quarterbacks that are in the portal and things like that I could mention that I like. You want to talk about Izzy Carter down in Norfolk State? That boy's the truth. He won about 34 games at Corona Centennial, and he only lost 3 games, and 2 of them was to Mater Dei, school that Bryce Young went to, right? Talking high school. So I like Izzy Carter a lot. I like Jalen Tolbert down at Alcorn State. I talked to my boy G a little bit about Alcorn State, what they got going on at their quarterback battle, and that is an interesting quarterback battle. That's a very interesting quarterback battle. And I'm starting to see why Jalen Tolbert left Howard and why he wasn't starting at Howard either. We'll talk about that later. But there are reasons, though. And I'll say as far as Alcorn, they have a very talented quarterback battle. Right, Jalen Tolbert has what I'm hearing, he has a live arm, a little inaccurate at times, and he's a little gun-ho with it at quarterback. But I'm also learning that they have a couple other quarterbacks, even returning guys like Trey Lawrence, that are still very consistent. Right, going down to FAMU, Jed Petty's a great quarterback. I think he should start at FAMU. But if FAMU don't name a starter anytime soon, I don't think it does you any justice. And I know for a fact they are probably running around Junior Miratovic's name like he's being ready to be the starter. And I do not think he's going to be the guy. So we'll see pretty soon in these scrimmages that FAMU has. And I'm going to check right now if FAMU has any scrimmages or if they have already scrimmaged. But it doesn't seem as though they're going to name a guy anytime soon at FAMU, which would mean to me that nobody has set themselves apart. Prairie A&M, I don't know their quarterback situation right now. I'm assuming Tevin Carter may take the roles. We can see. I mean, hey, look, man, spam Lionel. We get Lionel up in here. Maybe Lionel could tell us who their starting quarterback's going to be, but I don't feel like they've named one yet or one has even set himself apart. Because also, that leads me. Hold on. I got an interview with Tremont. Let's check this out. let's get a quick update with Prairie View A&M while we at it. I'm just going through all the rest of the quarterbacks I like, though. But we'll load this up real quick. Other quarterbacks I like, down North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T has a very interesting quarterback battle right now. Battle between Champ Long and Kevin White Jr. Two quarterbacks that are somewhat dual threat quarterbacks. So you got to imagine it's going to be a very interesting quarterback duel. But aside from that, who does Sean Gibbs want to lead his team in the future, right? Because Kevin White now, I think he's coming up on his junior year. And you got Champ Long, who I think is coming up on his sophomore year. So when you talk about Coach Sean Gibbs, he's making a decision for the future here. Who's going to be our guy long term? So I like both quarterbacks. I think Kevin White has a great potential to be a good quarterback. And I think that Champ Long, I like to see him in the game and see how he does, see what he can be. But he looks very good. He has good composure. He's good poise as a quarterback. So I like those two guys a lot. Going around, Tennessee State, don't know their quarterback. Arkansas Pine Bluff, don't know their quarterback. Bethune-Cookman, I think Cam Ransom could be a decent quarterback, but I like Timmy McClain, man. I cannot lie to you. I like Timmy McClain at Bethune-Cookman. He's a journeyman. He's undersized. He's left-handed. All the different knocks against him. But I love me a good gamer, right? If I can give you the football and let you just play ball, I love that. Like, that's my favorite type of quarterback. Somebody that can do something like that. Just give you the ball and just go, right? There's nothing better than that. So that's that. Mississippi Valley, I'm not sure who they got down there. If you talk about Jackson, we talked about Jacoby Morgan, Alcorn. It's going to be between, like, Trey Lawrence and Jalen Tolbert. Prairie View, I'm not sure. Southern, we see that Jalen Woods has a spot at Southern now. Alabama A&M, we see that Quad Brown has a starting spot at Alabama A&M. Alabama State, we got Andrew Body. We'll get into that, too. We got a little bit of Alabama State camp news. But while we're here, while we still doing this, let's go ahead and listen to what Tremaine Jackson has to say out of Prairie View A&M.
Practice 7, how's everything been going for you so far?
Yeah, it's been okay. We're still getting guys acclimated to the heat. We went back to morning practice just because we needed to get guys in the heat. They need to feel the sun. The way we ball is a little bit different from everybody else. Some people run from it. We don't. We run to it. And I'm proud of our guys because they've been able to get through it and still get better. And so we're so much better than we were when we first started. But we're still not where we want to be. We're operating at about 60% of how I want to practice. And so ultimately we're going to get there. But we're practicing harder than people I talk to. So I guess that's something to look forward to.
So you're all.
Hold on. I've been trying to figure out what that means. We've been practicing harder than some people that I talk to. So you talk to some other SWAC coaches and they like, man, we ain't going that hard. Like, what does that really mean? I like Coach Jackson. I'm not going to lie. I like Coach Jackson. Bet you come from D2 level. I'll rock with you. Let's keep watching this, though.
Ultimate goal going into the next.
That's something to look forward to.
So your ultimate goal going into the next 2 weeks, what do you be looking for?
Yeah, we got to find out what the team is. We knew the spring team, we had a summer team, and now we're trying to find out what the team is and who are the leaders of that team and who are going to be the starters. So we got a little time left, but we don't have much. We'll do that over the next 2 weeks. Looking forward to our scrimmage on Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's put this in context, right? My boy, Coach Jackson is looking rough. Lights out again. My boy, Coach Jackson is looking rough. But one thing I will say, though, when it comes to fall camp, training camp, everybody and their mama looking rough. Where my lights at, man? It's got dark up in here again. We keep these outages. There we go. One thing that happens in camp, though, is the fact that, look, man, nobody getting haircuts. Everybody tired. You talk about camp, that means you got practice from 8 a.m. all the way to like 4 p.m., 5 p.m., or it might just be start at 8 a.m. So just the scheduling in general, everybody gonna look whooped. So my boy look whooped. All right, cool. The point that I really want to make was something he said around here, right? He talked about who's gonna be the starters, who's gonna be the team, who is gonna be on the team. And this is where I say, when I talk about Coach Jackson's first year, right? talking big in your first year is great and it sounds all cool, but when you know the realities of the situation, where you don't even know your first 11 starters, but we talking about how we going to take over the SWAC, 1 + 1 don't equal 2 in that situation. If you try and name starters and try and name wins, you can't do both at the same time. You can't. I mean, you can't. If you don't know your starting quarterback is, you can't tell me how many wins you're going to get. You can't. You just can't. It's impossible, right? So a lot of how smoke Coach Jackson been pushing in the offseason, talking about what type of players they want to recruit and bring in here, what they're going to do in the SWAC, how they plan on doing things and doing things differently than all the other coaches in the SWAC. Well, here we are, where the rubber meets the road. Dog days of summer. We got about 2 weeks to the first game, and here you are explaining the realities of the situation, keeping it real with the situation. We don't know who our starters are. I listened to Jackson State said, T.C. Taylor said, we have an elite offensive line, and Coach Jackson is saying, I don't know who my starters are. 2 way different mindsets. Completely different mindsets. One is trying to improve their offensive line that they feel is elite. One is trying to find offensive line starters. These two are not the same. Plan A is different for these two coaches. That's why in the offseason I go, well, he has a hard time in the first couple games, first season, because there's always a transition period. You want your personnel, you want your players, but you also, as much as you think you know which coaches you need, after this first 6 games, you're going to know what coaches you need. Keep it a bean. If you had the same staff from last place or not, after the first 6 games, you'll know which coaches you need to win in the SWAC. Even though you may feel like before the season, you feel like you got the guys. Ask Coach Prime. Remember when T.C. Taylor was coaching the offense, and the offense was averaging like 25 points a game with Shedeur Sanders? Made that change real fast, right? Remember they brought in Coach Bartolone, right? Remember Bartolone? He was the offensive analyst from Nevada. Jackson State brings him in to be offensive coordinator because Coach Prime realized to win in the SWAC, Coach T.C. Taylor ain't going to work out at offensive coordinator. Same thing's going to happen with Coach Jackson at PV, right? As much as you feel like this and that, there is a learning curve, along with a curve on bringing players in. And the rubber will meet the road. And listening to this right here, it don't sound as confident as it usually sounds. And it's probably because it's in the middle of camp. And I saw him in an interview last night. He looked much more confident. But hearing what he says and understanding what's going on, PV, all that 6-7 wins, all that SWAC championship, you need to slow it down. Let's focus on beating Southern. Right? Let's beat Southern this year, guys. How about let's do that and then go from there. Maybe that's point A for us. Because the SWAC West runs through Southern. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear shit else. It runs through Southern. If you can't beat them, don't pop it. Just don't. Do us all a favor. You save us all the watch hours and just don't pop it. Because at the end of the day, you have to play these teams. So let's go through PV's schedule. I'm popping it too hard for them, huh? I'm popping it on them. Let's see. All right, so let's check out the Preview and them schedule. Boom, pow, bing. Y'all know I don't play. I do it on live. I do not care. 2025. I say schedule. No, thank you. All right, here we go. Schedule. Let's go through. Got my pen. Got my sheet of paper. All right, PV. I ain't playing with you, Tremaine Jackson. All right, game 1 at Texas Southern. Skill-wise, I think Preview and them will be better. Who do I think wins the game? Texas Southern. Give Texas Southern that win. All right, next game, UTGRV, whatever. They are a glorified intramural team. This is their first year playing football, and they're playing Division I. Beat their ass. That's a win for PV, right? I got one win for PV right there. All right, so now we got PV on there. Next game, at Rouse. That's an L. At Rice, you finna get cooked. It's over. At Northwestern State, this should be a resounding W. This non-conference slate overall is booty cheeks. Very soft. UTRGV, Vaqueros, first-year program. Northwestern State lost like 60 games in a row. Something crazy like that. Down at the bottom down here, y'all ain't seen it yet. Lincoln, California is a homecoming game. 3 of the 4 non-conference games you're playing against are either barely Division I programs or non-NCAA affiliated other than Rice. I digress, though. Let's keep going. Let's go ahead. Let's predict the schedule, though. Let's predict the schedule. Rice, that's an L. Northwestern State, that's a win for PV. Grambling, I'm not that confident, but it's at home. And PV beat Grambling, I think the last time they did the State Fair Classic. Get the odds to PV, right? PV, that's 3 wins. 3 wins, 2 losses so far. Moving up, you got Alcorn, that's a loss. Alcorn, that's a win for Alcorn. You got a bye. Hopefully you win that. Next, you go at Southern, that's another loss. After Southern, you play against Lincoln, California, that's a win. Right? Then you play Alabama State, that's a loss. You ain't beating Bama State. I ain't seeing that. You play at Alabama A&M. Another loss. I think that'll be a great game. A great game, right? Because you think about the 2 former Division II coaches. You got Coach Sam Shea going against Jermaine Jackson. Sam Shea was leading a very strong Miles team that won the SIC championship and won a playoff game. At that same time, Coach Jermaine Jackson was out Valdosta State coaching a top-ranked Valdosta State team that went on to lose in the championship, right? They actually could have played each other in an alternate universe. This will be a great game. But I think Alabama A&M has a better roster than Prairie View A&M, right? So I give the odds to Alabama A&M. Next game, you got UAPB. That's a win for PV. And then you got Mississippi Valley State. All right. According to my notepad right here, we got 1 win, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 losses. A 6-6 even schedule, right? Say we go 6-6. Now, keep in mind, of the 6 wins, we're beating Mississippi Valley, UAPB, Lincoln, California Oaklanders, Northwestern State, and UTR GV HGTV. That's the 5th win. Understand the wins. This schedule is soft. It's charming soft. It might be soft. It ain't softer than Morgan State's. It's up there, though. You got Morgan State level softness, and then right underneath Morgan State level softness, you got Prairie View A&M level softness to schedule. It's that close. It's margins. I don't know too many other schools in the country that play UAPB and Mississippi Valley. If y'all know any, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat. I don't know too many schools in the country, and they had nothing to do with this. It's conference schedule. But who has to play UAPB and Valley? 2 of the weakest schools in the SWAC, probably 2 of the top 10 weakest schools in FCS football. And not only are they weak, you get to play them back-to-back. Not just back-to-back, to end your schedule, to end on a high note, right? This is the most favorable schedule for a first-year head coach that I've seen in quite some time. Now, Prairie View A&M as a squad have been playing pretty good in recent years, and I don't really understand why they would lead them to have this such a weak schedule. So, how we got here, I'm not sure, but we're here, right? And the weakness of the schedule is I'm not going to lie, the non-conference is garbage. UTR, let's see, who does HGTV even play this year? Sul Ross State? Langston Lions? They play Langston? Come on, man. Texas Wesleyan? Southeastern Louisiana Lions? Who is Southeastern Louisiana Lions? Houston Christian? Lamar? Come on, man. The back half is a real schedule, but the first half is what the helly. So Ross State, who the hell is them? So, yeah, I said to say, Prairie and them, I got y'all going 6-6, but 5 of those games are almost not even Division I opponents, right? If you want to compare the amount of scholarships that Mississippi Valley has compared to Miles College, it might be the same, right? My bad, y'all. I had to do a little impromptu schedule review, but this schedule is weak, man. There's no other way to put it. This schedule is weak. You got a pretty weak schedule, a favorable schedule. So, hey, man, go 6-6, do your thing. But 6-6 to me is the minimum, right? That's the minimum for Coach Jackson this year. This schedule is too weak. It's softer than soft, okay? All right, glad I got that off my chest, y'all. I kind of been sitting on that for a little bit. So, what else we got to talk about, man? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So, new gym for them. D2 poll. D2 top 100. I think I probably am doing like a whole. We could talk about it now. I think I'm probably going to end up. No, actually. Let's go to the MEAC, y'all. We still camping, baby. Let's go to the MEAC. All right, so in the MEAC, Coach Trey Oliver has something to say about what his squad had going on. So we're going to take a look at that. Some post-scrimmage notes from Coach Trey Oliver, right? This was, I don't know what scrimmage this was, but this is one of the scrimmages going on this year. And they got a big game against Southern for the MEAC SWAC Challenge coming up in a couple weeks. So let's take a listen to what Coach Trey Oliver got to say.
Probably a little over 100 plays today in a bunch of situations. Probably every situation we think of. And got, a lot of guys meaningful reps. So good quality scrimmage. Got a couple guys banged up, but they'll be okay.
How do you grade a scrimmage as a head coach? If the offense does well, the defense, and vice versa, how do you grade a game like that?
It depends on which meeting room I'm in. So if I'm in the meeting room with the defensive staff, I'm mad at them. If I'm in the meeting room with the offensive staff, I'm mad at them keeping that stuff corrected. But no, it's really like alignment and assignment. And then from are the guys doing what they're supposed to do, and then effort. That's it for the most part as far as effort on both sides of the ball. And then the other things we can get taught up. But as long as they know what to do and they're playing with great effort, the technique and fundamentals we can work on.
Man, we're close to game day, aren't we?
Oh, it's right around the corner. Right around the corner. It seemed like it was like May or June last week, but now it's here. So we'll clean up some stuff next week and then.
Hold on. I see we got a couple viewers. Like the stream for me, my boy. We got 7 likes, 15 watches right now. Like the stream, man. Do it for the boy, please.
Polish things up for game week.
Are these guys getting sick of facing each other? There were a few heated moments in the field today, them tripping back and forth in a competitive factor, but are they ready to face someone else?
Oh, that wasn't heated. You should have seen a couple days back. Yeah, they're tired of going against each other. They got a feel of their opponent, and the offense has a feel of the defense and vice versa. So they're ready to see somebody else and hit somebody else.
The D-line looked pretty strong today, and your linebacker core just kind of all over the ball. How pleased are you just with their progression?
Oh, very much so. Coach Carl's done a great job. Coach Thompson's done a great job with our defensive line and that side of the ball. We are very good up front on defense. And we have the best line, I think, offensive line in the conference. So to see those guys battle every day, it's good to see.
And speaking on the offensive line, we just talked
Nice.
about Coach Mack and his work with the offensive line so far over the season. Just talk about the work he's been doing with those guys and just how well you've seen the line progress over the past few months.
Well, we already had a talented group, and we had all the returners coming back, so we knew we had a good offensive line coming back. But I'm really pleased to see the continuity and the chemistry of that group. And also, they've improved so much technically and, with their fundamentals. That's what it's all about. When you face somebody just as good as you, it's about effort and technique. So Coach Mack has done an amazing job with that group.
All right, that's Coach Trey Oliver. Interestingly enough, when it comes to Coach Trey Oliver, like I always say, man, I like Coach Trey Oliver a lot. I think he's going to be one of the good coach at a Power 4 program at some point. But the only thing stopping Central is Central. It's the only thing stopping Central. There's literally nothing stopping Central this year from winning the MEAC championship. Are you going to blame Morgan? Morgan ain't got a QB. What are you going to blame South Carolina State? They lost a whole lot, right? A lot of guys that whooped on you last year, right, was beating, was giving you all them body shots are gone, okay? Norfolk State has a new coach. Delaware State has a new coach. Howard is nothing. Best way to put it. They're nothing. Best way to put it. Y'all gonna have to watch when the games start, but they're nothing. So for Central, what are you gonna do this year that you haven't done in years past? Is my question, right? At what point in these big conference games are we gonna get over the hump? At what point? Because it really wasn't any reason you guys lost to South Carolina State last year. It really wasn't the reason. You guys had all the momentum to go. You have the seniors. You got a lot of guys from the Celebration Bowl that beat Jackson State on that team, right? A ton of experience. How'd Tennis Berry walk in there and just beat you like that? 24-21. How'd he come in with a transfer quarterback and outdo your quarterback you've been grooming for the last 4 years? How'd they outrush you? How'd they keep pressure on you like that, right? It's really kind of odd, the games that Central loses. And a lot of times, I put that on coaching. I feel as though a lot of times Central loses, they get outcoached, right? And sometimes we see turnovers. A lot of times the Central offense, if they're turning the ball over in the air, that's the biggest problem for them. That's a thorn in their heel. That's their Achilles heel for sure, interceptions. But there's a lot of time in Central's games where it seems like the offense or the defense literally just cannot figure things out, right? They're out of position or they're a play late. It definitely feels like that in some of these big games. And the margins matter in the big games. So whether or not they're calling the right play or not, or if they simply haven't coached the guy up to get in his position in that situation, those type of things are happening in these big games, these crucial moments for this Central program. Because if you want to be honest, there's almost no reason why this North Carolina Central team couldn't win the MEAC championship the past 2 years. I mean, you even think about when Howard won the MEAC championship and went down to the Celebration Bowl. They had a very inconsistent quarterback, a wildly inconsistent quarterback. Now, his name has escaped me right now, but they had a wildly inconsistent quarterback. There's no reason why you guys should have lost that game either. So for this program, it seems like they're always on the brink of something, right? And you won a Celebration Bowl, for sure. But on the brink of a dynasty, it feels like they're almost on the brink of a dynasty. It feels like they've been like this for the last 3 years. But they have found a way to not break through every time. So it makes you ask questions. You got to ask questions, whether questions about the offense, the defense, or the coaching staff. It makes you ask questions about what truly is going on there, because there's no reason why this Central team is not even more dominant than we assume them to be. Okay? So that's my thoughts on Trey Oliver and North Carolina Central. We're not going to see any big quarterback changes this year. We're not going to see any. This is going to be most likely a lot of the same team that we've been seeing, right? But they're going to be in a different position because this year we expect them to win even more so than last year. Okay? So I think we got – I think we got South Carolina State in the building. Let's take a look. Oh, this is a little motivation. What's this right here? Okay, here it is. This is what we want to talk about. So South Carolina State made a big move in their coaching staff. And their coaching staff now, Coach Tennis Berry has announced the promotion of Kevin King to passing game coordinator, right? If you're familiar with Coach Berry, he's pretty much been keeping around the same staff ever since Benedict. And with this guy King, I didn't get to go into deep or depth about, what he did and his true contributions were to South Carolina State and Benedict. But he was special teams coordinator. He made an impact last year with some all-MEAC performers. And he's always been with the defensive backs, right? So let's see. Maybe it's defensive passing game. Yeah, I assume so. I assume it's defensive. Because it says Kevin King to passing game coordinator, safeties coach. Yeah, so it's probably defensive passing game coordinator. And, what you'll see most likely with a lot of these coordinators, offensive coordinator will always have designated offensive passing game coordinator and a run game coordinator. This has been going on for years. I'd say at least since like 2013, 2014. To whereas the offensive coordinator may specialize in passing concepts and, specialize in route running and formations and, there's different type of philosophies. But maybe your running backs coach is better with run tracks, better with inside zones, outside zones, better in teaching the run game. All right, but at the end of the day, there's my play calling. So defense, same thing. You got defensive pass game coordinator, defensive run game coordinator, right? There's a defensive coach that's watching all the run fits during the play, and defensive coordinator that's watching the back end on the play, right? All the defensive end, defensive backs, the 7 players on the back end. So we're going to have a new defensive back end coordinator, right, at South Carolina State, which is interesting because the DBs are probably some of the brightest spots of South Carolina State's team, right? Jared Washington was a big DB that went down to MEAC Media Day. And really a slew of South Carolina State players in the transfer portal have come on the defensive end at defensive back. And to some extent, you want to think that is one of the strongest parts of the team, right? So this makes a lot of sense, to see a coach that has steadily improved players and developed players through the past year and also done a great job in special teams. You have an opening at a defense, of course, right? You just hire him. You bring him in. You make it do what it do because there's no way you let a guy like that walk. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, right? But I like South Carolina State, man. I feel like they'll make some waves. We haven't seen anything out of Morgan. I'll say that, man. Where my boy G. Huggins at? We ain't seen nothing out of Morgan this whole offseason, if we're being real, and we're looking to try to figure out who their quarterback is. So I want to say I have one more video for y'all. This is a Greg Williams one. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Tennessee State. Got a chance to check out Tennessee State and just read a couple articles, see what's going on down there, try to get a good buzz on things. And it seems like Coach Defensive Coordinator Greg Williams talks about recruiting some players, talks about what it really takes to bring some guys in down at Tennessee State. And that's interesting enough because you're trying to recruit guys like a month before the season. Like, hey, man, we got a game next month. You want to play for me? Like, it's a weird pitch to make. I'm not going to front. Crazy pitch to make, but here we are. So here's about 30 seconds of Coach Greg Williams talking about some recruiting at Tennessee State. Let's take a look.
Here in 1997, Nashville has exploded. And it's beautiful, but my goodness, is it, there was the country and western town. It's still that way, but it was a country town when I lived down in Franklin all those days, and I cannot believe how much Nashville's grown for the better.
And for the betterment of this program, too, that's something you can recruit players to, right?
We can recruit players to the city of Nashville and recruit players to coaches that know what they're doing. Out here in 19...
All right, so he was just talking. Let me turn that down. That's too loud. So what Coach Greg Williams was talking about was really the amount of talent they got down in Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee and in Nashville, which is interesting because we'll probably see a lot of recruiting from this school during the season. They're going to do a lot of in-season recruiting. They got a lot of making up to do. I'm sure they probably don't even have all their numbers. You talk about depth-wise for this team. I can't imagine that they are ready for a full OVC season. And, look, the boy Stan Becton, my guy, okay, the track runner, all right, my boy. Stop putting Tennessee State where they don't belong. They don't belong in any HBCU top 10 list. Tennessee State does not belong in any HBCU top 10 list. I'm about to start screaming that shit. Stan, are you listening? The OVC, let's pull it up. Let's pull up the OVC predicted order of finish, y'all. Let's see what their own conference thinks of them. Since, apparently we feel as though, Stan feels as though, Stan over here feels as though Tennessee State is one of the top teams HBCU football. I don't know how bad you think HBCU football is, but, I mean, come on. All right, but that's the list a little bit. Football pick to finish third. Obviously, Big South players to watch. Maybe it's this one right here. I gotta find a link for y'all. Ain't no way. All right, the players to watch. Where's that predicted order of finish, though? Well, y'all see it right here. Here we go, right up here up top. Oh, I'm in the way. Blue. All right, here's a predicted order to finish in the OVC Big South, right? Tennessee State, number 1. UT Martin, number 2. Southeast Missouri, number 3. Lindenwood, number 4. Western Illinois, number 5. Eastern Illinois, number 6. Gardner-Webb, number 7. Number 8, Tennessee State. Tennessee State. This team, now these players are good players, but this team is picked to finish 8th out of 9 teams. Stan, why are they in anybody's top 10? Are you seeing the material, my boy? They are picked to be one of the worst teams in their own conference. 8th best out of 9 teams. But somehow, in Stan Becton's newest HBCU Top 25 poll, they're number 7. Right? This team is number 7 in the Top 25 poll, but number 8 in their own conference. Let me put myself back on the screen, man. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, G. Ain't no way, G. Ain't no way. And I mean, I went in on Stan's last list because it was pretty bad. It was garbage. I'm not gonna lie, it was garbage. But this list right here, this top 25 list, maybe I gotta bring this up too, man. We gotta start shooting down all the weak lists. This year is what we doing, y'all. Any list that don't look good, we tripping on it. So let's check it out, man. The boy dropped the top 25 list, and it hurts to look at some of Stan's top 25 list. I'm not gonna lie. So let me send this to my you know what I mean. Let's take a look at it. So here's Stan Becton's top 25 list. We already saw that the top 10 list was pretty bad. So here we go. HBCU go. Shout out to y'all for posting this up. But this is Stan Becton's top 25 HBCU power rankings. And who other than Tennessee State hanging out at number 7 right there, right? This list is garbage. Garbage. Okay, I guess we tried to fix it, but let's take a look at it. Let's dive into it. We here now, man. Ain't no getting out of this. We here now. Stan, my boy, I don't know. Just look, man. Hey, look, receive counsel before you put his list out. Just receive counsel. That's all I'm saying. Because if we just said, okay, I'm going to finish, because Tondia said this on HBCU Nightly. She said she thinks that Stan just did, he said, whatever record these teams finish with, I will order them in that order, right, going back to this next year. So that means Jackson State Central, okay, so here's the list. The issues I got with it. The first 4, do what you want with it. Alabama State, what we doing here? What? Since when has Alabama State been top 5 squad? Right? And look, a lot of people have brought up the fact Alabama State won 7 games with a Wildcat quarterback. Well, you know what I can't game plan for? A Wildcat quarterback. Right? So team to team, you're beating squads with a Wildcat quarterback, running unorthodox plays, doing whatever it takes to win. Something that you cannot replicate. It'd be different if you won these 6 games, 7 games with something you can replicate. Try running Wildcat for 13 games this season. And look, all the talk was, they had all these super close games. There's going to be different personnel this season. That same quarterback that lost games by 1 point will not be playing this year. No knock on Andrew Body. But the guy that was losing games by 1 point last year won't be in the game this year. It's going to be a different result. There's no way just because last year we only lost 3 games by 1 point, we won 7 games. This year we should win 10 games. No. Put in perspective, right? If we got let's say put out there, we got Alabama Crimson Tide, right? You got a good quarterback, right? You got Jalen Hurts, a quarterback. He goes down. You got to put in a receiver at quarterback. Okay. Receiver goes in at quarterback. He makes plays. He wins a couple games as a Wildcat quarterback. The next year, you won't say, oh, well, we won a couple games with the Wildcat. We could do more with. Sure. But the way you won last year will not be the way you're going to win this year. Not even close. Probably running a totally different offense this year, right? Open up more plays, do different things. So, yeah, in a lot of ways, Alabama State being up at 5, I don't really like it. FAMU at 6, we got to live with it. Alcorn at 8, I guess. Morgan at 9, PV at 10, okay. It starts to get sketchy after this. Grambling at 11. I'm not really sure Grambling should even be that high. Norfolk at 12 feels a little low. Texas Southern being above Alabama A&M, Hampton, and Delaware State feels like a crime. I'm not even going to lie to you. Because what are they doing there? Why are you here? Right? I look at Alabama A&M like a team that's trending up. Hampton as a team that just won 6-7 games last year. Delaware State is a team that's trending up. If we all perceive these teams as playing decent, how do they end up at 17, 16, 14? Why does it seem like more teams in the bottom half of your top 21 teams should be in the top 10? And look, these are just power rankings, right? These are real subjective. Anybody could say anybody should be anywhere. And I'd say since recruiting in HBCU football has decreased to the point to where it is now, it's a little bit harder to predict these different power rankings. 100%. But, sir, Tennessee State is at number 7. Tennessee State has 4 returning starters between the offense and the defense from last year. Tennessee State has a quarterback battle right now between players that weren't on the team last year. Understand how dire of a situation this Tennessee State team might be in, right? They're going to be begging for a win next year. Begging. So in December, when Tennessee State has 2 wins, and we go, let's check out Stan Becton's power rankings for before the season started, and we see Tennessee State at 7, some people will go, how did that happen? And all of us in the chat going to go, well, yeah, nigga. Duh. Of course. Of course. Everybody and their mama saw this coming. Funny stuff. Hampton, criminally low. Hampton's down here at number 16. I didn't even scroll to the bottom. Hampton's at 16. Y'all didn't even see it. Hampton's at 16, y'all. They won 6 games in the CAA last year, but they 16th best HBCU program. Hampton is ranked 16. Behind Grambling, Texas Southern, Howard, Tennessee State, Alcorn, all teams they played better than last year. Much better than. So, yeah, Stan, I don't like it. You keep messing with these lists. And the only reason why I be on Stan like this is because Stan speaks for like NCAA sports, right? This is going to be on NCAA.com, guys. This is the representation we got on HBCU sports, right? They're going to say, oh, look, this is the top. These are the power rankings. These are the top teams. But they're not, right? And this ain't no independent publication. This is NCAA certified. It's stamped. Y'all see it right there. See that logo right there? You see the logo? It's stamped. So that's the reason why I got to push back on Stan so hard sometimes, guys. Because this is the literal representation that HBCU sports will get. It'll be from Stan and his HBCU power rankings just because he has the NCAA behind him. All right? So, united, we must fight against this, y'all. Chat, united, we got to fight against this. One by one, we going to all push back. And I think everybody been pushing back on it in HBCU space, which is good enough. We got to push back hard enough that Stan want to listen and Stan going to make a difference. Right? There's no way we should still be able to deal with stuff like this after what we did to his first list. All right? The next list, we coming for heads. All right? The next list, we coming for heads. So, let's hop back on here. Let's see what we got. We almost had a 3-banger. So that means we're going to get to the 3-banger. We're going to 3 hours, y'all. Don't worry about nothing. We are close. We about 30 minutes away. So we're going to get to 3 hours. Don't worry about nothing. So we got more content to look at, y'all. I got content for days. Don't worry about nothing. So what we'll do now, we're going to check out here we go. Check out Tuskegee. As we're going through camp season, we're going to keep camping. Let's check out some of Tuskegee and what they got going on right now, which is a very interesting camp. And I'm going to really go in on Tuskegee, and we're going to figure out what they need, what they don't need, because Tuskegee is at a very fine – they're at another point where the rubber meets the road, okay? Coach James needs to win some games, or he's going to be out of there faster than not, all right? So let's check it out.
Bright and early at 6 a.m. Aaron James and his squad hit the field to start his 3rd season as the head coach. The Tigers welcome in over 40 new faces to this roster, but return some key members like quarterback Raekwon Beal, running back Johnny Morris, and defensive back Michael King Jr. Aaron James and his players were not happy with what they did last season, going 5-6 and 5-3 in conference play. Both admit the mindset needs to change in order to reach the championship.
At the end of the day, we want to win the championship. That's it. We want to win the championship, but it's going to take one game at a time and one day at a time. So, but the thing is, we just got to be motivated and having a different mindset than last year.
Very confident of going into year 2 being here. We had a lot of guys come back on offensive end, and we are familiar with each other just by playing last year. So we kind of already got a feel of what we need to do, better understanding of the system.
Check out the new lights lighting up the field at practice today. Tuskegee will host its first ever night game.
All right. All right, what Coach James said right here. I'm going to rewind it till we got to listen to it one more time.
At the end of the day, we want to win the championship.
They want to win the championship, right? I'll say no more. Let's check out your schedule. Let's check out your schedule, Tuskegee. Let's see what you got. Last year, you went 5-7, right? That's not reminiscent of any Tuskegee football teams, like any, right? Tuskegee is about winning football games, right? So, if we're about winning the championship, we should at least be close, right? Let's see how close we've been, y'all. 2024 Tuskegee, 5-6. They were 5-3 in conference. That's not gonna cut it. 2023, 7-4 overall, 6-2 in conference. Didn't make it to a conference championship. 2022, 8-3, right? 7-0 in conference. They actually went down to the conference championship, right? Played against Benedict and got their butts handed to them. 21-58. I'm adding this context for us, guys, because this year, I believe that if Coach Aaron James doesn't win the SIC championship, he will be fired. And I honestly believe if he does not get off to a good start, he could be fired mid-season. I'm not sure if they want to do this, but I think they will be pressed to do this as an institution if Coach Aaron James can get the wins that they want. Currently, the SIC, Berry is gone out of Benedict. They're rebuilding. Coach Sean Gibbs is gone from Fort Valley. They are rebuilding. Miles, head coach Sam Shade is gone. They will be rebuilding. Coach Aaron James is the one coach that was in that same coaching recruiting cycle. He was hired around the same time as Sean Gibbs, Berry, Sam Shade. Right? He's one of the coaches, like Sean Gibbs, that did not get a chance to win the SIC championship. Right? In comparison, Albany State has lost a head coach within that time, and Quinn Gray has become the head coach of Albany State and has taken his team to SIC championship before Aaron James has, right? And if you talk about in context, right? More recently, Albany State has been to SIC championship before Tuskegee. that adds pressure. That adds a whole lot of pressure. I believe that was year 1 for Coach Quinn Gray at Albany State, makes the SIC championship. This is year 4 for Coach James at Tuskegee. And Coach James just wants to win games. But it's much bigger than that. The pressure is on. Because you could hand this job to any other coach, right, in Division I football, and they would love this job. This is a great job. It's a luxe job. You got lights, you got a turf field, you got 30,000 people willing to show up to your games, and you are just a Division II program. You are a Division II program that plays against 2 Division I programs every year. You are in a position to succeed every year, right? You're fighting up, right? You play these big games, play TV games, sometimes nationally televised games. You are Tuskegee. Okay? So all of that in context. Why aren't we winning games? Why are we 5-6, Coach James? There's only so many times as an AD I'm going to ask you that question. Because there are other coaches I know that I could bring in here that will bring in wins for us in a resounding fashion. You're holding on to Coach James because Coach James used to be a coach used to be a player at Tuskegee. Yo, known to Coach James, he's a legend in the Tuskegee ranks. But wins and losses matter. And at what point is too much? Because I thought 5-6 was fireable. 5-6 2 times is even more fireable. If we can't get to 8 wins, Tuskegee, Aaron James, you're out. Let's be real about this. If you can't get to 8 wins in this soft-ass SIAC, you are out. Let's go through the schedule, though, right? Let's figure it out. Let's go through the schedule. Let's make it even. Let's put 10s on it. Let's go through the schedule. Week 1. Hold on. My bad, y'all. Got my pen and my pad. We ready to go. All right. Week 1. I need a new pen. I ain't got no room on here. Week 1. Winston-Salem State, right? That's a loss. I get that WSSU right there. Dayland Lee gonna come in and light y'all up. Okay. Week 2. We got Central State. That's a win for Tuskegee. Nah, Tuskegee. Good job, Tuskegee. Week 3. Jackson State. Not a chance. JSU. JSU by 40. Let me put on there. JSU by 4D. 4DY. All right. Now, next up, you got Benedict. Now, this is an interesting game, but I don't think Tuskegee beats Benedict here. Because Benedict, to me, up to this point, is a very interesting team because what they do is something that usually runs the SIAC, and that's have a good defense. You want to talk about who won the SIAC the past 3-4 years? Last year was Miles and Sam Shade. Previous years before that, previous 2-3 years, Chennisberry and Benedict. Great defense. Benedict has the preseason defensive player of the year. He plays linebacker, right? Along with that, they have a pretty good, strong defensive line. Mix all of that in there with quarterback Darius Ocean from Johnson C. Smith that's now attending Benedict. He's going to be running the show for them. Benedict plays Tuskegee September 18th on a Thursday. Thursday games are not fun. This game is also going to be at Benedict on a Thursday. This is the definition of a trap game. Okay? Understand, Tuskegee, you're going to lose this game. That's a game for Benedict, right? Because, I say it's a trap game because the week before you play Jackson State, you're going to get beat up, battled, and bruised on that Saturday. 5 days later, you're going to South Carolina to play Benedict. That is the definition of a trap game. You go up to Jackson State, Division I team. You're probably not going to win, but you're going to come back injured. And it's a travel game. Go from Mississippi to Alabama. I ain't never been on that trip. Y'all let me know how fast that is. You make that travel game, right? You come back with injuries. Not only do you come back with injuries, those guys that are injured are probably not going to play 4 days later against Benedict. Understand that. So now you hobble into a Benedict game. Advantage Benedict. Next game, Fort Valley State. Advantage Tuskegee, right? Get at Tuskegee. Then you got Morehouse. Advantage Tuskegee, right? Then you got Albany State. Albany State is about to beat the brakes off of y'all. Albany State, right? Get that back to Albany. Then we go to Allen. That's a win for Tuskegee. Allen don't even got a practice field as far as I'm concerned. Shout out to Josh Cox, though, over there. Shout out to him. Very good AD. They got homecoming versus Lane. Get out to Tuskegee. Ain't no way. Now, end of the season, kind of weird. You got Miles. Miles is known for beating y'all towards the end of the season. Advantage to Miles College. Shout out to Miles. All right. Then you got Alabama State at the end of the year. Alabama State going to beat y'all. All right. So, according to my list, y'all, got Tuskegee winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wins. Losses to WSSU, JSU, Benedict, Albany State, Miles, Bama State. 5 and 6. Right? Let's kind of make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 and 6. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not 7 wins. Coach Aaron James, we need to be careful. Right? We need to be careful. We need to win some games, and we need to win the games we should win. And a big problem with this is that I am predicting Tuskegee to lose all of their non-conference games. To lose against Winston-Salem State in the Red Tails Classic, right? To lose to JSU by 40 at the Vet. To lose to Bama State in Turkey Day Classic. If you were to flip them, that would give you 8 wins. Right? You go from 5 to 8. And also, another thing I've learned about Tuskegee don't like being embarrassed. I learned that when I seen they lost to Edward Waters and damn near the coach had to apologize to the whole school. Tuskegee does not like being embarrassed. They are a prestigious school, and they are a school that hold themselves to a high standard in football, academics, and in social life. Okay, they want to have the biggest homecoming, want to have the best football team, and they want to be a team that HBCU that everybody else looks at as, oh, that is Tuskegee. Non-conference is more important than Tuskegee. This is my opinion because of the outlook that you have on the football team. I'm not saying that the SIC is not important to Tuskegee, but I am saying, though, for the optics, winning against Winston-Salem in the Red Tails Classic would mean something for job security. It would help. You know, it would help. You throw that in there. Oh, well, I did win the Red Tails Classic this year. Because another loss in the Red Tails Classic, just kind of makes everybody turn their eyes up on you, right? Because at this point, shareholders, alumni are trying to figure out whether or not we should invest in this Tuskegee football program or, simply put, divest. Let's pull the money out, right? Let's find somebody else. Let's go on a national search. I'm sure a national search at Tuskegee could bring in a slew of different names. I'm sure Tuskegee probably could have been running for Reggie Barlow if they had a national search today, right? Unfortunately, he's already at Tennessee State, and you know, I'm sure he would never try to look for another job while he's at Tennessee State. Blah blah blah. I think Tuskegee has a very good chance right now to go find a new head coach in the offseason. But it's all predicated on how many wins or losses that Tuskegee will receive in the first 5 games, right? I think the first 5 games of this season, the game against Winston-Salem in the Red Tails Classic, right? The game against Central State is another interesting game. Central State is going to have an experienced team, right? I said to say they're going to bring in like 30 junior college transfers, right? These guys are all going to be 20, 21 years old, but they may have limited experience in the SIAC or playing experience in general, playing football, Okay? So it's going to be a mixed squad. You got Winston-Salem, you got Central State, Jackson, and Benedict to start the schedule, right? Then Fort Valley right after that. Very interesting set of games. Out of these 5 games, you have to win 3 games. But how do you win 3 games? How do you win 3 of the 5 here? That means you had to beat Winston, Central, and Benedict, most likely? I don't see all 3 of those wins coming in. I really don't. So when you talk about Tuskegee, you're going to talk about a program. You're going to talk about a team, a coach that needs wins. There's no way he gets away with another 5-6 season. And I just predicted another 5-6 season. He can't keep getting away with this. He can't. And he won't. That's the sad part. He won't. If Aaron James would leave Tuskegee, this would mark the last of that whole cycle of coaches. Chennisberry, Sean Gibbs, Sam Shade, which is super interesting to think because that was essentially the new crop of players, or not crop, new crop of coaches coming to the SIAC that were supposed to change the SIAC from the old 3 yards in a pile of dust SIAC. And they have. Honestly, they have, right? We saw extreme strides in offensive play calling and in offensive philosophies in the SIAC. But one could say that Coach Sean Gibbs, Coach Chennisberry actually won and actually benefited from that changing of guard in the SIAC. And Coach James might be fired and might not be able to bear the fruits of all that they did for the SIAC in the past 3 years, which is kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. But also, you put it on yourself, right? Like you 100% put this on yourself. You have every opportunity to win. You lose to Edward Waters on homecoming. You go 5-6 in your last season. A lot of this is on you, my boy. I'm sorry, I can't put it anywhere else. It's on you. So for Tuskegee moving forward, I like to see some wins. This really is Tuskegee's conference to lose this year, although I do have my own favorite, which is Albany State. Tuskegee, you have been here long enough. Do something. I don't know what you're going to do, but do something. Okay? So, moving forward, we're still camping it. Y'all. I got more stuff for us. We're going to take a look at what Alcorn State is bringing around town, right? What is Alcorn State bringing to the table? What type of players they having? There's an interview with Coach Sid Thomas. We're going to take a listen and see really what is going on at Alcorn. Let's take a listen.
Head coach Cedric.
And let's I want to shout out who made this. Who's this? Who's the profile? Is this Swagging the Fool? Shout out to G and all them boys over there at Swagging the Fool, man. This is Coach Sid Thomas, head coach of Alcorn State.
Thomas. Coach, how you feeling today, Coach?
Man, good. You know, we came out healthy. You know, boy, these things catch up on you fast, man. We got 5 practices down, and everybody healthy. You know, little bumps and bruises when you're thumping it, you know, at such a high velocity, but, you know, for the most part, guys are healthy. You know, so we're excited about that, and got a lot of plays.
Scotty, what's the deal?
Go in and watch the film and make the necessary correction, but overall, I feel good about it.
Yes, sir. So we had some explosive plays from the offense. Seemed like a pretty good performance. You know, up and down with really good explosive plays. How do you feel about that, Coach?
You know, I just go off the litmus of last.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell y'all too. I don't know what Swagging the Fool was doing playing this little background music, but it's gonna be some funky background music for the rest of this interview. So just to let y'all know.
Everything I do, I go back and watch sprint, you know, the fall practice and the first scrimmage, and just kind of, you know, compute the numbers to kind of see what it looked like from an efficiency standpoint. So we way efficient. I can't tell, you know, just by the actual analytics, but I know, you know, looking at from last year to this year is way more explosive. But that's the retention piece. You know, we got a lot of guys coming back with Marion, Dane, you know. You see Tyron on the big ball, make some catches. But also, coaches did a really good job recruiting. You see Jarvis, man, catching good key passes on the sideline, and Diablo. And so those guys have been around a little bit. So we expect that. And in the running game, you know, you talk about the explosive not only in the air, but in the run game also. But let's start with the O-line. And that was the main thing that we got to do. Still got a lot of work to do. Quarterback made some good decisions. You know, we had a couple picks, but they was tip balls. They went through to the actual wrong team or wrong color. So these coaches excited about the new pieces, and so we're excited about the journey. We'll just keep working. But that's what we got to do. You know, we got to be able to 4 or 5 plays, you know, put it in the box.
Yes. Now we know you to be a defensive guru. How do you feel about that today?
You know, them guys, they moving. They moving now. We got some pieces from last year that we'll love. You know, old 44 man can't say enough. And it might not be one person directly get 12, 13 sacks, but as a group, I think we'll compute those numbers, not even more, but exceed those. And so the front was really good. Them guys getting up the field, man. Spiville is playing with his hair on fire, man. EJ, man. I mean, boy, just him and his family is just a blessing. You know, she always takes good words. I'm praying for you, coach. Praying for the team, which is always good, and just to watch him grow. You know, coming off that shoulder injury is just awesome. And so Coach Cub does an amazing job, and Fosterman now being tied with that core, him and Coach Rowe, them guys are doing really good. You know, secondary flew around. I think we got 2 or 3 interceptions today, which is good. Still gave up some explosives on the other end, so I got to do a better job just making sure that them guys got their eyes on where they're supposed to be. But we like where we at. We'll continue to get better, continue to grow.
Yes, sir. So it seems to be no fall off on the special team side. Can you kind of level?
I ain't gonna lie, man. He's saying a bunch of nothing right now. I'm not hearing nothing I want to hear. I mean, I'm bullish on Alcorn this year. I'm not gonna lie. I think Alcorn's gonna have a pretty good team. But I mean, Coach said ain't giving us nothing right here. I listened to this earlier. I was trying to find something to talk about, but it ain't really nothing in there. I'm not gonna front. You know, it's a bunch of nothing. Really with Alcorn though, I think they always playing with the unknown. I know Samarian, the leading linebacker, I was supposed to go up to Norfolk State. I talked to G, and he's gonna be back at Alcorn. He's not going to Norfolk, so that's good. You know, you keep one of your leading tacklers on the team, which is pretty good. I'm interested in seeing Tyler Macon at wide receiver. All right, I kind of like the boy at quarterback. I mean, I don't know. I was bullish on him at quarterback. Like maybe he could be better, but receiver makes more sense for him, right? Because even when he played quarterback, all he did was run. It was nothing but read options, so it makes sense for him to run routes out there. I want to see Tyler Macon catch a pass from Jalen Tolbert or Trey Lawrence. Like, I want to know what's going on offensively. You have a very – because last year they were really creative on offense because they couldn't throw the ball for a damn. So I want to see how creative on offense they get this year with these type of weapons, right? He kept bringing up one of the receivers I liked a lot when he first committed there, Omarion Blakes. I like that receiver a lot. He's down at Alcorn. And really what Coach said a couple weeks ago was that a lot of these young receivers we have on the outside are going to move into the slot. And we brought in some more older guys to play on the outside, the X and your Z receiver. I mean, your X receiver got to be the man. That's the alpha of the damn wide receiver group, right? So if your alpha of the group is one of the youngest players, it don't help, right? If your go-to guy is not a go-to guy, that changes your whole offense. So this year, I'm expecting more development offensively, but I'm a little more bullish on Alcorn because of their quarterback situation, man. Last year, they were they leaned on the run so much, man. It's disgusting. It's like watching Tim Tebow football, man. It felt like watching the Broncos back in 2015 or whatever, man. I'm watching a team where the quarterback is damn near the fullback, right? We're watching like a game of Army and Navy. So this year, I'm looking forward to actually seeing an offense that looks more like an offense, right? Offense that can pass the ball, do all the things. Because just last year watching Alcorn, I couldn't even watch the games. I'm going to keep it a buck. I couldn't even watch them damn games. But I just wanted to give a little tease of that. There is something I've been waiting weeks to talk about this. So there's a quarterback. It's a big transfer quarterback. Everybody talking about transferred down to Delaware State. His name is Caden Bennett, and he's a very interesting quarterback. Cause we're gonna watch a little walk and talk. But really with Caden Bennett, he's transferring down to Delaware State, and really he caused, I think, Marquis Adams to leave Delaware State. And with his transfer, it's super interesting to me because he was not the starter last year, apparently, and he was started the year before that. And I guess like he kind of lost his job. But he put Sacramento State in an interesting position because this is like 2-3 weeks before the season. But you got to wonder, like we talked about tampering last year with NCCU last week, but I mean, was Delaware State tampering? Like, how do you get Caden Bennett in the middle of the summer? Like, who does he know? You know, like, how do you attract such a top quarterback prospect, I don't know, 2 weeks before training camp or like a week after media day? Where does that really come from? Like, how do you – that had to be some type of inside job, you ask me. But we're going to go ahead and take a listen. Let's find out some more about this Caden Bennett. Let's see what he's all about. But he's going to be the starting quarterback at Delaware State. So this is Deshaun Jackson's guy. Let's take a listen. He did a little like the little 100-yard walk thing with Sac State while he was there. So let's take a listen.
Sacramento State's quarterback, Caden Bennett. Caden, your journey to play with the Hornets has been a long one. Out of Folsom High School, you committed to play at Boise State, and then you committed to play at Nevada.
Yeah.
And now you are here with the Hornets. For you, this journey, when looking back at all of it, how has it been?
Right, I'll say just a lot of self-reflect, a lot of building, a lot of being able to see like what was really going on like around my life, you know, because like when you're not at QB position, when you're not man, I kind of got to sit. There's only one kid on the field at the time, so I got to kind of just
somehow they mic, man. What the hell's going on?
What kind of I liked in life and what things that motivated me and pushed me. So that's kind of what kind of led me to being who I am kind of now.
This year, you're really taking the reins, and you're full throttle. You're starting quarterback. You're getting all that time waiting has now paid off. When you look back, what would you tell yourself then, what you know now?
Man, there's a lot of things I tell myself. I think I always tell myself I wish I would have knew a lot of the things I knew now. So just all the information I know of why I'm here, you know, or why I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, like why things happen this way, football, why things are going the way they're going. Like I think there's a lot of things I had to grow and realize, but I think over time I've got to the point where I know what those things are.
Now that you're in the position and you're able to help lead the team and people are looking up to you, what do you enjoy most about being the starting quarterback?
Just being around the team. It's not this quarterback stuff. I just love football, you know. But being around the team is like the best thing for me. Is like getting there every day. The energy that they bring, it transfers to me. So that's the biggest thing.
All right, when you're not playing football, which I understand is the majority of your time right now,
yeah.
What are you doing for fun?
I'm on a video game playing Madden. Madden GOAT. Watching TV, watching film, just different things that I could just get time going with, you know, like it's kind of boring. You don't just sit at the house. I try to get something, get myself.
All right, so we learned about the boy a little bit. Now we're going to watch some of his highlights. Wow, I can't even watch highlights, man. They tried to shut me off last time. That's tough. Yeah, we were going to watch some highlights. So Sacramento State played Stanford, and it was a good game. I mean, I don't know if Sacramento State won or not, but Caden Bennett played pretty well. But that's kind of the last time we've seen Caden Bennett come out and really beat a guy. I'll pull up his stats right now. We take a look at it. Last year, he had played maybe one game or something like that. Let's take a look. All right, so 2024. Caden Bennett. So this guy, if you guys are tuning in, this is going to be a starting quarterback down at Delaware State now, guys. So 6 foot, 188, quarterback out of Folsom High School. He started at Nevada, then made his way to Sacramento State. All right, so in 2024 season, he started the first 2 games of the season at quarterback, and that's just about it. He only 17 for 32 passes against San Jose State, 6 for 14 passes versus Fresno State, and that was it. Okay, so it's talking about a guy that's pretty underused. I mean, I want to compare him to transfer quarterbacks. I mean, possibly could be up there kind of like Daniel Richardson to FAMU. You know, you want to talk about a guy comparable in at quarterback skill, at least a guy that has comparable in quarterback experience. Okay, you look at I'm trying to show you his 4-year passing. Let me take myself off the screen for y'all so y'all can take a look. But his passing statistics, aren't too bad, but it's really only based on 1 year, right? It's only based on 2023. Threw 182 for 283 attempts. He had 16 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, right? But I believe he's a dual threat guy. So that same year on the ground, he rushed for 130 attempts, 577 yards, 6 touchdowns, right? So he ended the season with 22 total touchdowns, 8 interceptions in 2023. that's probably what we're really going to be going off of, is talking about what type of potential does Caden Bennett have and what can he do for Deshaun Jackson and this Delaware State team. He walks into a pretty good situation. You want to talk about Delaware State team that's going to play with a lot of young guys. You still got a veteran running back in Marquise Gillis down there, so you'll have a good running mate with you back there. Kind of worried about how fast he gets this system. It would have been nice if Caden Bennett could have been running this system since the spring. Probably been way more bullish on them. He's going to be a redshirt senior with about 2 weeks of training camp to understand a full playbook and maybe about a month and a half before MEAC play, where games really matter. So you got to wonder how fast he'll end up getting up to the curve, get up to speed. But he 100% has the skill to do these things, right? Even if you're this quarterback that comes in late, don't know the whole playbook, you have that dual threat ability, right? You have the ability to extend plays. That is natural, okay? As long as you understand most of the playbook or some of the plays, a good enough amount of it, you can come out and play and be a gamer and, possibly win some games. So let's take a look at Delaware State's schedule while we're here and see what Caden Bennett is up against. If he will have any time to even get settled in as the starting quarterback, or is he going to be tossed to the fire in week 1? Let's take a look. I like looking on Advanced, but we could do it on Delaware's page, though. So, Delaware State's football schedule. Let's take a look at it. All right, okay, we know y'all was 1-11 last year. That's the guy. Lee Hull really tore this whole team apart, man. Look, the folks from Howard was saying Lee Hull wasn't nothing. I'm not gonna lie, they were saying Lee Hull was nothing, and to get all the way to that 1-11, man. But yeah, Scotty and Perry were talking about this. Week 1 at Delaware, you ain't got a chance. Good night. Then you got Albany next up. Albany's been pretty good past couple years. I don't think so. Bowie State's gonna be your chance right there, but this 2-game stretch right here, I don't like it. I really do not like this. Starting off the season against FCS, former FCS powerhouse, Delaware, and then a pretty good FCS top 25 overall team in Albany. I don't really know what you're doing with that, Del State. I'm not going to lie to you. But when you got this Bowie State game here, it's a good game to get back. Bowie State has been ass the past 3 years under Kyle Jackson. He might be on the hot seat his damn self. So I think that Delaware State has a good chance up against Bowie State there. And then you got St. Francis after that. St. Francis ain't really much of nothing. And Sacred Heart was like 2-8 last year. So you could bounce back and go 3 straight there, right? This could be a nice point for Caden Bennett to really get into his groove, right? Settle into his job as a quarterback. Because you got to believe these first 2 games, he's going to be running for his life. He was going to be running for his life. That at Delaware, like Perry said the other day, I don't remember last time Delaware State beat Delaware, okay? And then you got Albany the week after that at home. That's your home opener. No, first of all, who was picking Albany as your home opener anyway? Who does this type of stuff? So, yeah, it could be a slow start. I do see a way for Caden Bennett to gain some steam, though. Talk about Bowie State, St. Francis, Sacred Heart stretch. That's a good 3-game stretch for a new quarterback to get his legs, right? As long as you stay healthy, you do what you can in those first 2 games, get to Bowie State, whoop them, get to St. Francis, keep things going, Sacred Heart, keep things going, and now the season is more regular, right? Monmouth, probably going to be a tough matchup, but then you play South Connecticut State. Who do they play? Who's on their schedule, man? Because they just smell like NAIA. Let's see. So, SESU, okay, the N10, the NE10. What is the NE10? I'm going to learn what that is today. Huh? All right, so sports, football, let's see what they got. Check out this Southeastern Connecticut schedule. So they got Post University, American International. Is this a D2? Catawba, Bentley, Pace, St. Anselm, Assumption, Franklin Pierce. What are they, D2? Yeah, they D2. All right, so this is a D2 team. So Delaware State got 2 D2 teams on their schedule. Got it. All right, so yeah, this little stretch up in here, you got your D2 Bowie State, you got St. Francis, Sacred Heart, Monmouth, Southeastern Connecticut. That's a pretty good stretch for a team that's going to have a new quarterback trying to find their feet right before the MEAC, really, right? Then you step into your game against Central, probably going to lose that. Norfolk, probably lose that. Probably beat Morgan, beat Howard. Got a chance to beat South Carolina State on senior day. So, this could be a decent schedule for Delaware State. And when you talk about what Caden Bennett can or cannot be, he's going to have a chance to at least be himself towards this middle part of the season up in here. Right in here is a sweet spot for the boy, right? Right up in here. Right after that Hall of Fame game, this is where you get your sea legs, this is where you find everything, get your composure, show your poise in these 3 games here, right? And you lead that through that Monmouth game into the Southeastern Connecticut State game. You got a big game in homecoming, then go back to playing North Carolina Central. So it kind of makes sense, but this early half of the season for Coach Deshaun Jackson, these first 2 games, that's tough. That's tough. I don't really know what we're looking for out of them games right there, but it's not really what we're going to be wanting, right? We're not going to get what we want out of those games. I think you talk about Del State. Did I do their record prediction already? Let me check my thing. Did I do it or was I saving it? Morgan, Howard, Norfolk, A&T. I'll do Del State next time. But let's go through real quick. I think I got a little more content for y'all. I told y'all I got a 3-banger in me. We had 3, y'all. Shout out to y'all for tuning in. And if you in the chat too, man, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, man. Run the likes up. I got like 5 likes. I don't like that. That's not cool, homie. That's not cool. All right. What do we got next? Oh, A&T. All right, so we got North Carolina A&T. It's going to be our last camp update of the night, y'all. North Carolina A&T starting their new era, and we had Coach Sean Gibbs come out and talk to us about what's going on, who's the new guys. He gave us a little bit of insight on what's going on, but like always, they're holding everything close to the chest. So we'll take a look at what Coach Sean Gibbs got going, man. Let's take a look.
A&T is in need of a total revamp after a 1-11 record last season.
WFMY News 2's Logan Campbell stopped by practice with more on how the Aggies are hoping to turn things around in the new season.
The offseason for North Carolina A&T football brought many changes, but heading into the fall camp of the 2025 season, it truly feels different. It is a new era under first-year head coach Sean Gibbs, and they're looking to make some noise with all the new faces they have on this Aggies team.
Be a team, number one. It's not offense or defense or special teams. It's about the Aggies. So we're going to come out here and compete against each other each and every day and compete our butts off. But when we go in that locker room, we got to understand we're a team. And if we can play together as a team, I like our chances.
Around the team, it's just a different, it's hard to explain unless you're out here. It's just a different feeling, like everybody coming to work every day, just ready to work and just ready to get better each and every day.
I've seen both sides of it. So, I know what a winning team looks like, and, in the direction that we're heading right now, that's the direction that we're heading into a winning team. So I'm excited, definitely.
Think about, A&T, we're a brotherhood. No matter where you're from, transfer, coming out of high school, freshman, we all one.
It's getting better each and every day. I don't want to put a number or anything like that. As long as our guys are working and getting better each and every day, the outcome will take care of itself and it'll be where it's supposed to be. As long as we're playing hard, playing with great effort and getting better each and every day, we'll be pleased.
The pads come on tomorrow, and the season kicks off for the Aggies on August 30th at East Tennessee State. Reporting in Greensboro, I'm Logan Campbell.
All right, man. Y'all been tuning with me for a minute. We see that all the weak teams be saying these little, hey, man, look, we just trying to be a team. We just trying to work on being together. I want to hear about the depth chart, homie. Let's talk about that quarterback battle. That's what I want to hear about. But you see it, as long as a lot of these teams that are having a hard time, at least in general, come into these different camp situations, and it's like, all right, like, how can we work on ourselves? How can we get better than last year? I think for A&T, they trying to beat themselves, right? How can we win more than one game? How can we beat a Division I opponent? How about that, right? A&T got their eyes set on the very small things, right? How can we win one game? I think you start with that, and then you start popping it, right? Like PV, Prairie View, Coach Jackson pulled up over there just popping it off the back. I think that with Coach Gibbs, he understands the history of A&T, but I think that him inheriting this job, he understands what a shit job Coach Vincent Brown did at A&T for the past 2-3 years, right? I think Coach Vincent Brown really put Gibbs up against it, and he's realizing that, well, as good a coach I am, I can't even change this in 6 months. There's no way I could change this in 6 months, right? So how do I keep the guys healthy? How do I begin to amass talent on this team? How do I get the right coaches on this team and do things the right way? Because at the end of the day, you can't flip this team in 6 months. That was never going to happen for A&T. I think there was never a way that any coach could bring back A&T this season and have them winning 5-6 games. I don't think there was any way that was going to happen because they were in such bad shape. Like, literally, this A&T team was running a 3-4 with a D tackle that was 235 pounds for the better part of the last 2 seasons. You mean to tell me you can't recruit a 300-pound D tackle from North Carolina A&T? I'm looking at Prairie A&M with 3 of those in one recruiting cycle. And you're going to tell me that Vincent Brown couldn't find that? There's no way. So when I see Coach Sean Gibbs and I understand what they got over there, I'm looking at a team that needs a whole lot of talent to make them better, right? And I think that with A&T, you're lacking talent. You gotta understand that, okay, we got to just lick our wounds and go with what we got, right? We got to take our losses and keep building what we got. Because this A&T team, I had them winning. We did a record prediction the other night. 3-8. That's what I got A&T at right now. 3-8. That's tough. That's tough. But that's better than last year, though, right? That's an improvement from last year. That's putting yourself in a way better position recruiting-wise than 1-11, right? It ain't good, but it ain't that. And that is what I think A&T is trying to get away from. A&T would really like for their squad to be in a position to compete with football teams. And I think that Coach Sean Gibbs can get them there. And this year, with this schedule, got Tennessee State, UCF, Hampton, Central, Maine, William Mary, South Carolina State. Ooh, that's a tough schedule. I ain't going to lie. On this schedule, I got the first game being a win, beating Tennessee State. Then I got straight losses, just about almost 5 straight losses. Lose to UCF, Hampton, Central, Maine, William and Mary. Then you got a maybe with G-Ho against South Carolina State. Then you play Campbell, Townsend, Stony Brook, Elon. It's an uphill battle. And, I mean, that's the tough part, too. You in the CAA, it's always going to be tough. Every year is going to be tough. And I heard Dave say, like, oh, we got the easy half of the CAA schedule. The easy half, you got to play Maine, William Mary, Stony Brook, Elon. Like, this is easy. I mean, I guess it ain't easy for y'all. Another power outage. We got power outages tonight. But I guess that's easy. I don't know who that's easy to. What team is that easy to? So A&T, man, y'all in trouble. But 3-8 ain't bad, man. I think 3-8. I think an A&T fan at this point would gladly take a 3-8 over 1-9 or 0-10 like they've been doing, 0-11, whatever they've been doing. And quite frankly, I'm surprised they haven't scheduled a soft non-conference schedule like every other, like Prairie A&M, for example, right? Prairie A&M, you got HGTV, Lincoln, California. I forgot who else is on that schedule. A couple other D2s, but why isn't A&T scheduling D2s? If there was one team in HBCU football, there was 2 teams in HBCU football I think should be scheduling D2s. It would be North Carolina A&T and Mississippi Valley, right? 2 teams that struggle against D1 opponents. Obviously, the skill is too much for you. You need to dumb it down. Come down a couple stairs and come play against some D2 opponents, right? If I'm A&T, I'm trying to schedule Winston-Salem twice. How many times can we play them in 1 year? Oregon State and Washington State playing twice this year. Why can't y'all do it? I would play a team twice if I was A&T because we got to add these wins up, man. There's no way we're going to be able to sell any of this stuff. We can't sell I guess you can sell tickets while you losing. I guess that happens at A&T. But, I mean, come on, no, man. Come on. Adam Spencer, what's the deal? You know, we getting into it, man. Shout out to Hampton, man. I like Isaiah. I talked about him on my top list, man. Take a look. But for A&T, though, please, look, y'all had a chance to schedule D2s this year. Look, schedule some. Look at what Delaware State doing. Schedule Bowie State, man. Schedule Southeastern Pennsylvania, Connecticut State, man. Go get Lincoln, California. You gotta think outside the box up to this point. The CAA is too much for you as a program. So dial it back a little bit, soften up the non-conference, and let's begin to stack wins. I don't know. They might not be hearing me, though, yo. I'm not going to lie. They might not be hearing me. But A&T, man, it's going to be a rough battle. This whole season's going to be tough. From the game, QB battle. Well, I actually heard something like that. I don't speak on that. But I actually heard something like that. I heard that Isaiah Freeman's taking majority of the snaps, but I heard that it is a straight up quarterback battle at Hampton. And I mean, it kind of makes sense because look, define battle, right? Define battle. Because supposedly there's somewhat of a battle at Jackson, right, between Jacoby Morgan and his backup, Ethan Terrell, whereas Ethan Terrell is like pushing Jacoby Morgan, right? Is that like a battle? The same way you got Norfolk State, you got Izzy Carter up there starting at quarterback, but Otto Kuhn's supposed to be still getting first-team reps. So would you call that like a battle or pushing for first-team reps? You know, very subtle difference, but nonetheless, you're in a similar situation, right? With Hampton, I think that, you know, Isaiah Freeman has to prove himself. Coming from a D2 school, coming from Lincoln. The school he was at, Lincoln, they was like 1-9 last year, like 2-8 or whatever. Terrible. So definitely something to prove for him. But I'd be surprised if Isaiah Freeman doesn't get the starting spot at Hampton. Like, super duper surprised. I don't even think there's a possibility, honestly. I think that's the reason why he went there. Because he was choosing between Hampton and UAPB. He could have went down there with Tony Hull and UAPB's offense, and same offense that got Mekhi Higgins offered A&M. Got Giovanni Gibson, the starting spot at Oklahoma this year. Or he could have went to Hampton like he did. So I would assume that our guy, Isaiah Freeman, would be up there getting the starting spot, but I understand if there's a competition, though. Get that for 100%. Swagging the Fool, what's the deal? G, what's the deal? Well, we just went through Alcorn, man. I was trying to get through y'all little interview. It's pretty good. But I got some background music. What's up with that, bro? So we got a couple different things we could do right here. I really want to finish up all these tweets I got. Finish up this camp roundup. We done basically seen everything, man. Shout out to y'all for sticking with me, man. We're going through a 3-banger. Been on here for 3 hours, 30 minutes, you heard? But we still got more content to make. Let's get into it. New court at Clark Atlanta, that's cool. Got a D2 poll. All right, here we go. We got some Andrew Body news. Just a little bit of Andrew Body news. Oh, that's not the right screen. We got just a little bit of Andrew Body news, right? Former Miller QB Andrew Body in the mix as Alabama State football works towards second week of fall camp, man. So, this Andrew Body saga over at Alabama State. Hold on one second. Go ahead to chat with me. Adam Spencer, it is. He ran with the 2s at the spring game. The dude that ran with the 1s isn't off the roster. A recruit left, and we got 2 FBS transfers after spring. I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is an interesting development right here. So, according to my boy Adam, I trust you, bro, obviously. I trust you, dog. So, he said that my boy, Isaiah Freeman, ran with the 2s at the spring game. Interesting. And also, the guy that ran with the 1s is not off the roster. And lastly, they brought in 2 more FBS transfers at quarterback. So this is interesting, right? Because Hampton don't release none of their additions. All they release is the fact in the spring they brought in 10 players. Like, I think it was 6 transfers, for high school kids. These rosters are always fluctuating, which is interesting. But I'd like to see who those FBS transfers are. I'm not going to lie. I'm very intrigued by the situation, man. Adam, DM me, my boy. Let's see what's going on. Let's get to the bottom of this. But what we got? Photos? I don't want to see no photos, man. Alabama State turned the page. Second week of fall camp. Practices with the 7th practice. So this is Alabama State's 7th practice. Alabama State had the best defense. Tuesday practice, so this and that. Okay. All right, here we go. The competition, they're right here. The competition wasn't one-sided during Tuesday's spring practice, with some pushback from Alabama State's receivers and a quarterback competition that is still taking shape. I'm going to tell y'all right now, there ain't no reason Andrew Body should be competing with anybody for a starting quarterback spot. I'm not going to front. I don't care how good old boy did from last year. I don't care. I don't. It's Andrew Body, my boy. So anyway, here we go at the bottom. Alabama State QB Andrew Body rising, regaining form after 2024 injury. All right, so we know he got injured in the first game versus NCCU. All right, Tuesday's practice began with 11-on-11 periods and focused on third down situations. And Body took second team reps behind Kareem K. I read this a couple days ago, and I was like, wait, what? I had to read it again. Andrew Body took second team reps behind Kareem Key. Key struggled to get any momentum going against first team defense. Body had more success during his reps converting third downs. Coach Eddie Robinson, do not mess this up. Like I was saying earlier, everybody's so big on Alabama State and them 7 wins from last year. That was with a Wildcat offense. If Kareem starts this year and you run the same Wildcat offense, do you think you win 7 games? Answer quickly. Quickly. The answer is no. You won running the Wildcat for a year. Kudos to you, brother. You did good, right? But how do you game plan for the Wildcat, right? It's very hard, very difficult. And I also heard Kareem Kai is like 5'5", okay? Difficult to game plan for that. We only throwing the ball 10, 12 times a game. You're doing all this smoke and mirrors stuff, right? Sometimes kind of difficult. You wouldn't dare try that again, would you, Coach Eddie Robb? Would you? You wouldn't dare try putting a 5'5" quarterback in again and letting them play the whole season in the SWAC, would you? Or is this your way of trying to push Andrew Body to push for that starting position? Right? And I'm one of them guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them coaches. Like, I don't believe a player loses this position due to injury, right? But availability is everything, right? If you ain't able, you ain't getting in. So I understand there's like this fair quarterback battle, but let's be real here. Andrew Body is the best quarterback on that roster when healthy. There ain't no reason he should be taking some second-team reps against a second-team defense. Honestly, you're wasting all of our time right now. He could be running with the ones and developing chemistry with the offense, the receivers, the running backs, the offensive line could get used to his snap count. We can see what he could do against the ones. But instead, a quarterback that's been on this campus for an entire year, we're going to treat him like he's a new guy, right? And now you number 2. Now you got to work your way back up, buddy. Why? Because of injury? You got to be kidding me, dog. And Coach Eddie Robb might be a little more clueless than I thought when it comes to offense, but you got to be kidding me. I thought you was clueless when you hired Harry Williams from Morehouse to be offensive coordinator. I thought you was clueless then. But now I look up, and now Andrew Body is running with the 2s. You think that's going to be the answer? Look, man, you keep playing with Andrew Body, I wouldn't be surprised if the boy hit the portal. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. I don't know how eligibility works. What I said what's happened with Mekhi Higgins is he should go ahead and sit out a year, redshirt if he can, and go transfer next year and still get some playing out of this, right? if Andrew Body comes into the season as the second string quarterback, go ahead, sit out, find your redshirt year, and go find a new school. Because Eddie Robb is wasting your time like he's wasted the rest of the SWAC fans' time thinking that he's going to get up to the SWAC championship or 8 wins, right? That's just not in him. That's not in this Alabama State team. They are a defensive team. Emphasis on defensive. Everything offensive is on the back burner. Coach Eddie Robb, he might even like Kareem to be the quarterback. Maybe that helps the defense even more, in his opinion. Maybe we could play even more ball control. But there is no reason in your right mind why Andrew Body is running with the twos 2 weeks before the season starts. It ain't no way. I can't find one good reason for this to even be a thing. Let me read this again. Tuesday's practice began with 11-on-11 periods that focused on third down situations, and Body took second team reps. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't see it. Maybe you can. Let me see. Second team reps. What do people be saying? My flabbers were gasted. That's what people be saying. Ain't no way, dog. So let's continue reading this article. I had to stop reading the article right there. I didn't even finish it the other day when I was reading it. Okay, so during team periods later in practice, Body took took first team reps at quarterback, where he showed the dual threat of his legs, breaking free into second level on a quarterback draw. I mean, yeah. I mean, we all saw that coming. If he run with the ones, we probably see it even more, right? He's a game breaker. He's a game breaker. He's a playmaker. He's a play waiting to happen. You keep him on the field long enough, you'll see a play happen. So why are we playing with him? Andrew Body is already a senior, I believe. He one of the oldest players on the team. Just give him the spot. If he ain't earned it last year, why are we making him re-earn it this year? What type of game are we playing right now? Because it shouldn't even be an option that he's a number one quarterback. Shouldn't even be a thought if he's a number one quarterback or not. It should be, how do we keep him healthy? Because we failed that last year as a team. We failed to keep Andrew Body healthy last year. So how do we keep him healthy this year? Hey, and look, maybe the coach Eddie Robb keeping him healthy is keeping him on the bench. I hate to say it like that, but maybe keeping him healthy is keeping him on ice and away from the football field. Just a thought, man. Just a thought. Going through the rest of this article, though, man, Nehemiah Nixon and Cayman Barnes make a splash, play during individual drills. Alabama State defensive backs display physical play, hope to mimic 2024, as if it is article. The big thing is that Andrew Body's running with the twos right now, y'all, and it's August 12th. That's a problem. And moving forward, I mean, if I'm a good quarterback, why would I go to Alabama State? Give me a couple good reasons. Give me 3 good reasons I should go to Alabama State. And give me those reasons without mentioning the defense. You see? This Alabama State team is trending. They have been, I don't know if they're even trending anymore. I think this Alabama State team has plateaued. I think they have correctly plateaued, right, in their ascension. I feel as though they were going up when Eddie Robb first got there, and you talk about this great defense, like, oh, man, Alabama State turned a page. They have the best defense in HBCU football, right? We're trending upwards. Trending up. The next year, you bring in Harry Williams as your offensive coordinator, but you have Demetrius Davis as your quarterback, right? Oh, yeah, we still trending up. Trending up. It's fun to find out Demetrius Davis is not the guy. Okay, but we're getting to plateau. The next season, you bring in Andrew Body, right? You go, okay, well, maybe they find a good guy at quarterback. Begin to trend up, right? He gets hurt along with the other 6 quarterbacks, and now you plateau. And now I feel like Alabama State is still at that level, and they'll be stuck there at this spot where they are unable to find a serviceable offense, but they have a great defense. They've done it for the last 3 to 4 years. No matter what they've tried, nothing has worked. You could blame the injuries. You could blame Demetrius Davis. You try to blame Andrew Body. But there's one person at the center of all this, and that's Coach Eddie Robb, the head coach. It got to fall back on the head coach, right? These are the teams that he is constructing. He is constructing a team to be this good, right? To play good defense and do that, right? He's not concerned with the offense. So things will not change. It won't take one quarterback to change things. It needs to be an overarching, I can't think of the word right now, but a whole shift offensively. This is kind of like how Maynard had his offense really good and the defense was just shit. Coach Eddie Robb's defense is great, but his offense is shit. And he can't change it. He can't change it. I don't know. It's on him. He can't change it. Everybody else has been able to find an offense, through defensive coaches always find an offense. He has had a hard time trying to find an offense this whole time. And I don't know if he doesn't want to or if he just can't do it, but it's not working. It's just not. So that is it for my camp update. We're going to watch a couple highlights. I got some highlights I want to watch right now. TC Taylor up in there. Where's TC, man? I got TC in here somewhere. Where's the boy? We're going to watch some TC Taylor highlights. Because I never saw bro play. So I don't know. I don't know his style. I know he played quarterback. He did the whole thing. But we're going to watch a little bit of SWAC highlights. We're going to watch TC Taylor play. And I don't know. What's up with SWAC Digital, man? Can I watch some other people play on there? Is it like they got like highlight tapes on there? That would be dope for real. I'm not going to lie. Damn, hold on. This Tecmo Bowl? All right, so here we go. My boy TC Taylor, man. Head coach Jackson State. Let's see the boy sling the rock. Let's see what he got. Hello. Oh, he played receiver. I'm tripping.
So they're going to award him the football. Well, his mother came out and got the ball. She didn't want him to play wide receiver. That's taking the ball. She's like, good decision, son. Taylor was, of course, a quarterback here. And they had Mark Washington throwing footballs. Taylor was behind him.
Oh, so he played both. All right, I thought he played quarterback.
But then Robert Kent came to the school. They moved TC to wide receiver. And because of it, he is now a pro prospect. And here's one story, another pro prospect with a big-time catch. Good for close to 25 yards.
Yo, Alcorn jerseys was nasty. Jeez.
One of the toughest throws to make is any throw in college football to the field from the opposite hash. You have to have a gun to put the ball there.
Man, I came here to see TC.
Her son just broke the record. How do you feel? Absolutely wonderful. Now they're saying that you didn't want him to.
Hey, I'm not going to front. Y'all see that bowl back there? That might be 60,000 up in there. I'm not going to front. Yo, this looks like the NCAA game with all the people in the back on me. This stadium is packed.
Wide receiver. How you feel about that decision now? I'm excited. Don't you now? Well, congratulations to you from me and everybody at BET. Congratulations to you and just congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome. Back up to you guys, man. And his mother only looked like she's about 15. Easy there, Joe. TC Taylor, the senior. Get a good look at him. And that's just one of those great stories. I mean, the guys could have packed it in when they told him, hey, listen, TC, we're not going to let you play quarterback. We're going to bring a younger kid in here and play the game. And here he is. As we said, coming in 4 receptions shy of...
What up with it, Mike Glenn? Yeah, Bama State will be good, but they've been good the past 3 years. What is good? 7 wins? 6 wins? 500? When will Bama State be legit contenders? That's my question, Mike Glenn. That boy really an athlete, though, man. I like TC game.
But over the years, Jackson State has sent several receivers to the National Football League, and they're saying that the newest addition to the league is going to be that guy right here, TC Taylor, who today broke a record that was set single season for most catches by a guy by the name of Sylvester Moore. And a couple of years ago, you see Mark Washington, their former quarterback, throwing those Sylvester Morris. They knew that this guy was going to be a big-time player, and he was. He was drafted in the first round by the Kansas City Chiefs and immediately made an impression with that club. In fact, was slated to be a starter. If you think about the first-round picks that have come from this school, Jerome Barkham, Donald Reese, Walter Payton, Robert Brazil, the great linebacker, Lester Holmes, and then, of course, most recently, Sylvester Moore.
I want to see some football.
Anderson, the defensive SWAC. It's a pick. And all those guys, not only were first-round picks, but had great NFL careers. And while we talk about TC Taylor, you're looking at this kid right here, Lon Story, 6'6", 205 pounds. He, too, is a big-time pro prospect. In fact, the scouts have been coming to the school to look at him and have run into TC Taylor. Right, you look at Story on paper and you see the size and the speed and all the things that you can see on paper, and then you come out here and you see him, and then you see TC Taylor and you see
Yeah, well, shout out to TC Taylor, though, man. That's 70 receptions this season. I thought they were going to show some more highlights. But shout out to him, though, man. I ain't going to lie. The boy was doing his thing back then. Doing his thing. But, hey, though, that's it for me, y'all. That's all I got today. Went through and gave y'all everything I got. I gave you everything I got. Hopped on here, man. It's been 3 hours. Almost at a 4-banger, man. Don't play with me, boy. Almost at a 4-banger. Hello. So, it's your boy Kelly Flicks, man. As always, I'm going to keep bringing y'all this heat, man. We got through all the camp intel today up to this point. I'm sure I'll give you another camp intel episode pretty soon. And to be honest with y'all, I got to figure out what days I'm going to stream from now on, man. I got to figure out my regular days. I kind of been streaming randomly, and I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Before y'all leave this stream, please tap in and like the stream, subscribe, leave a comment, holla at me, say something, say what's up, man. I don't care. You know me. I'm straight